Welcome back to Total Disclosure. I am your host, Ty Roberts, and I want to start this episode specifically this way. We have so much to talk about. Obviously, the presidents and all the news that's kind of breaking, and the disclosure effort mounting, and the pressure it's on. Representatives are, I mean, they're posting about it. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, is posting about this. I mean, this is an unbelievable and unprecedented time to be alive and involved in that UFO topic. But before we get into that, I want to say that I met someone I think about 8 months ago, and we've done some work together on other things. And I put out today that we're going to be bringing Gene Sticko, who is a former Intel guy and a whistleblower himself to some degree, not in the UFO field, but he's become a very dear friend, and he's going to be helping me produce the show. And I couldn't be happier to have someone else that I trust. And so thank you. So Gene's actually in the same room as me.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. On top of sharing a passion for the subject, we are almost neighbors.
Yes, almost neighbors. And that's what I think. I think it's someone, you meet someone that's like not nearby, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you click with them, and they are close by, so it does make that friendship a little bit more than like someone who I just randomly meet at online, and they're just a screen name. And at the conventions, maybe then you get to meet them, but it's not a sustained relationship like that.
Yeah.
But so it's been nice to really get to know you, your family, and I just think that we're taking this next step, and we really have something to prove. And we're already talking to the one guest that I think we're gonna come out of the gates pretty hot.
Yeah.
So
come out swinging. But again, it's like, it's all those little win-wins in life, right? Because again, I retired. I just planned on kind of sitting around and watching TV all day. And then, the papers drop on my lap, and that became a project. And I'm working on it with that. And, and people ask, they're like, oh, you're going to do a podcast. I'm like, no, I don't have an interest in doing any of that. I was doing so much of like production stuff for Natalia and her singing career. So we had, videos and music production and, all this equipment and stuff like that. And, when you're starting out and you have to produce your own shows and everything, you have all this stuff. And so, but as that's matured and changed and going into bigger venues that have professional staff and everything, I kind of missed it. And, as much as I've been around, I could see you. That's why I was like, if you ever need any help and you're like, I want
I actually have the exact need for that. And so we are going back. We're kicking it back. I mean, we were live last night with Megan Medic from Reality Check, the producer of Reality Check. But we came back tonight with this, this call-in show that we've been doing. So pinned in the comments is the link to call into the show. Call in at any time. Gene will bring you up when it's appropriate. And we're going to have an open discussion. Before we get into that, make sure to like, to share, and subscribe. It really does help, get the channel seen and into that algorithm. It really, really does. And it takes 20 seconds, guys. 97% of people are not subscribed, and they're new viewers. So it'd really be nice to get some people to, hit that button. Like the show, especially, and leave your thoughts. If you don't want to hop in, leave your thoughts. Let us know what you think. We're going to be bringing people up. And we're going to do this panel style. So with that being said, our first one is Mr. Vito from Perfect Storm Gaming.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks for having me. What's going on?
You have a very tinny thing going on.
Oh, good God. I think it's this new microphone. I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm going to mute you. We'll do you in a... Well, that sounded dirty. Well, I'm not going to do you. But Whistling Mike, you are also here. I know you have a limited time. So I want to. How are you? How have you been?
Man, I've been busy, but I'm good.
I love that. We've actually been talking, and I think we're going to be doing an episode. We just got to talk about the date. An actual interview of your case and what you've said. I interviewed Tim Phillips, and that was kind of where our relationship, quote unquote, started. That's at least where our paths crossed. So I figured, getting the other side to that will be, it's kind of my nature and how I need to do things.
Yeah,
So
it's a good thing, I mean, we won't go down that rabbit hole right yet, but just know I'm already preparing some bombshells
well, I
for
want to
that.
start.
But
I
you know
want
what? Yeah, just real quick. This is the way you're doing it's the way to do it. Like I understand everybody that interviewed Tim Phillips, and I understand the story he told. I understand he was actually on the payroll, with DOD. You have a SES that serves at the pleasure of the president. I get, that they let people tell the story, and some folks, not every podcaster, but went along with it. So, yeah, I'm not upset about it, but it's important for everybody, especially when you get into the whistleblower area. If you think about Kiriakou, this is kind of what they do. They kind of push you into being somebody you're not, and the next thing you know, you're fighting for your own reputation. So I'm glad it gives other people the opportunity to tell their own side of events.
right. Yeah. And, God, do you hear that feedback?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gone now. Vito, how are you sounding?
I think it's fine. I just switched microphones. I got a new Shure microphone, but I didn't put the new the filters on it yet. How am
Okay.
I? Is it better?
That sounds way better, man. I
All right.
think
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
it was your mic, maybe.
Yeah. I didn't set the audio up. I'm sorry.
That's all good, man. So how you been?
I've been doing great, man. I've been working. I got promoted to captain, so that's been great. I popped my cherry, caught 3 fires in one day, so that was interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be careful about saying that's like cool thing.
Super Bowl. Well, it's my job. I love doing my job. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I didn't watch the Super Bowl for a minute. I was fighting a structure fire. So good times. Good times.
Yeah, relatively good times. I hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, everyone's fine.
God forbid.
Yeah,
so guys, obviously right now, the biggest news, the biggest thing, I mean, the headline that you just can't escape.
Jay-Z dropped a new album.
Well, shit. You spoiled the surprise. You spoiled
My bad.
He Obama'd you right there.
Yeah. So, just to take people through the events, the events that unfolded. I should have brought this already up, but I should have already brought this up, I should say. I posted about it because I grabbed the videos that, like, I think it's a good overview of what actually happened, like what pieces led to the inevitable, like, Trump truth post, right? And I'm gonna pull it up here, but it's gonna take a second. So Obama basically goes on this podcast, Brian Tyler Cohen, and he had already previously talked about this subject, and he's got an interesting background with like also being the first president to say the words Area 51 publicly, because at the time they're expanding the border of that Area 51 installation. So that kind of was like a catch-22. They had to admit that it existed in order to get the permitting to expand the land. So then Obama says it in like one of those speeches, and he's like, I think I'm the first president that's ever said Area 51. And that was like 2011. So that was pretty recent. Like, it's not. So just to put into perspective, people like think of Area 51 like, oh, it's been around forever. Not officially.
No.
Officially, it was not it was, you could see it on the map, and
it was never acknowledged.
But it was never, that's the thing. It was never acknowledged. You think about Independence Day. Right. It was in a film. Right. And it was not publicly acknowledged. And then later it gets acknowledged. That's kind of weird. Yeah. So then Obama, of course, he had his thoughts and gave his thoughts. And then it led to this series of events that you just couldn't script, right? You just couldn't script it this way. But with this digital world now, like it's kind of like, oh, this is the way it would happen. You know, that it kind of makes more sense that this is how it went down rather than, you know, just a president walking out one day and like, hey, we're not alone. But
yeah, here's an alien.
here, yeah, like, hey guys, unprompted, no pressure. I'm just gonna start talking about it. But so I want to watch this one. Can you guys hear the audio?
Objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. And so, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them. And
so then he's now on Brian Tyler Cohen.
What is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in. What is it?
It takes me a minute to choose. So then Trump gets asked about that remark.
No discrimination.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors?
I want to pause this right here because what he says next is it's not the answer I was expecting. Was it the answer you're expecting?
Definitely not.
Okay, because it threw me off fucking completely that the answer that we got was that.
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. Well, he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it.
First off, you talked about it during the whole campaign, so shut the fuck up. You don't talk about it. You absolutely talk about it. It was just he was mad that I'm not going to get into the politics here. Yeah. However, what did Obama say? He said that aliens existed, right?
The aliens are real. If you notice, he didn't say NHI. He said aliens. And if you notice that they've been using semantics with certain words. So that's
we've known that. That's why, like Sean Kirkpatrick when he was in Arrow, when he specifically cites extraterrestrial, it's like lying by omission, right? Mm-hmm. You're not lying,
right? So
but it's not the truth,
right? If we go, the one step further, where he says, "And they're not at Area 51." Right.
So is that the part that's classified?
I think so.
This is the thing.
Yeah, I think so.
So, just because something is classified does not mean that it is true, right? However, in the totality of this situation, what he did was take Area 51 off the board of potential places that aliens could be. So inherently, if even the classified part was you can't talk about where aliens may or may not be, he violates that by saying they're not at Area 51 definitively.
Right. So that's
which
the
then
classified
inherently
part.
means that they're somewhere.
That's definitely what I think most people took from it. This is, and I don't know how many clips Ty's going to play, but this actually kept going to the point where on another plane ride, President Trump was asked if he's going to go to the Department of Justice, the DOJ, over what Obama said. So this is not just in life, something in passing. I mean, when you start getting into that territory, whether you agree with it or not. So
Yeah.
it gets interesting. From my angle, I thought that this is another example of like a John Kiriakou or talking to the press gets you in trouble. And one of the things that was said, he starts talking about there's no underground base under Area 51. So again, he starts getting into stuff that has nothing to do with the question. That he could really start talking on what's classified or not just by saying it's there or not there.
Yeah, and that's exactly the comment we brought up here. Mendinopolis 8686, Area 51. He's discussing Area 51, no underground facility. And that could very likely be those seemingly little details are still details that could be under classification.
And it's
Right.
interesting because we were talking about how it wasn't acknowledged. And keep in mind, for a long, long time, you also couldn't go to Google Maps or anything like that and look over the top of it. So if there was an underground base, it would have been done before anybody could have spied whether or not that was built. So that probably still is a classified rumor, even if it's one they want out there, true or not.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think again, listen, Obama's statement itself got a ton of press. It obviously made it to the White House briefing room before even the president was able to be asked about it on Air Force One. He does what he does, and the world, responds immediately.
Well,
I mean, I had those, I had all sorts of, news feed alerts coming through, and it just kept coming.
yeah. I mean, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's people that like they're so cynical about this topic that they just want to throw acid on everybody that's like kind of rejoicing. And like, as much as like, listen, as much as I don't get along, or it's not like that I don't get along, it's that I don't always agree with everybody, but I do think this is a moment that we can rejoice. We can finally say that we're getting somewhere, like, and whether or not, but I have concerns too. Like, is this just the shiny object that a bipartisan, like, concocted, because everyone is implicated in the Epstein files, right? Everybody, Democrat, Republican, independent, international, right? So Obama goes on a pretty well-known but random podcast, drops aliens are real, right? And then Trump gets asked about it because it goes viral, because obviously it was going to go viral.
Yep.
He says it's classified information, like, and then his next thing is the truth. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to, and I quote, alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America.
I mean, and that's carefully crafted, right? That was not your typical
Trump truth.
It's
usually like
you can tell.
Fuck you, Bernie. You're a piece of shit.
I mean,
This guy wrote that one.
I wouldn't be surprised if this had, a hand of a Burleson in it and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and say this. And somebody knowledgeable of the issue said, be very specific on, UAPs, UFO, break it all down, because if you just say one thing, it's going to backfire.
Right.
I spoke to somebody that I'm not going to say his name, the guy we spoke to on the ride down to DC, and asked him if Trump releases disclosure, can these guys now finally say something? And he says they can, but it has to be a certain way for them to do that.
But getting back to sorry, I kind of got lost there. But I think we do have to be cognizant of the fact that this could be a bipartisan, because again, everyone being kind of everyone being implicated left or right, internationally with these Epstein files. Could this just be the 24-hour news cycle, but them trying to specifically, and again, this would be bipartisan, right? They concoct it, right? Obama and Trump, like two people you'd never think would work together, but like, hey guys, I think it's completely plausible, and we shouldn't lose sight that could be what's some sort of variation on that too. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but this could be just a shiny object to wave over here so that people forget about Epstein. I don't think there's a reason we can't do both,
Right.
but I think we'd be stupid. We would be stupid to think that the timing isn't suspect. But it's not a reason we can't rejoice and say, like the legends that we're standing on, like Stanton Friedman,
Right.
like Steve Bassett, like
But so
Corso.
here's my thing when it comes to the timing question. Okay.
Where'd Mike go?
Because well,
He had
Mike
to
had
dip
another
off.
engagement.
Oh, all right.
But if we're on long enough, he might jump back in. So let's break down the timing issue, right? Because again, I think the general public looks at this and they say, oh, here's the easy thing. The Epstein files were released. It's not going well, so they concocted this thing. Again, government doesn't work like that, right? This interview with Obama was set up months in advance.
Mhm.
There was negotiation between his people and President Obama's people on what was going to be talked about, what the exact questions were going to be.
Absolutely.
All of those things were laid out in advance. Once that was set up, then it was sent to the White House for the White House press people to go through. Okay. So there was an awareness long before the Epstein files were released that this interview was going to happen. So if this was the grand compromise where, yes, Trump wants to be the disclosure president. However, they're politically savvy to understand he can't just come out and say it, because the automatic political reaction from the left is, attack him and call him crazy and whatever. So they had to figure out how to make the win-win in this scenario, right? You have that because and never mind, we had the the rumors circulating about either a May or a July, a summertime speech by the president, which Lara Trump is off on the side, on the periphery, saying, yeah, I think he has a speech prepared, and there's things being teased that way. So there's a lot of activity that's going on in the orbit, right, of this particular issue. The scenario gives the win-win in so much as if things, let's say, played out to that big speech, that the Dems could have said, well, see, Obama said it months ago or whatever. Now, whether that was the plan or, this became a truly spontaneous thing, or was, they said, well, why even wait? They already know there's a speech coming. Let's just do it now, get it over with, and, see how it flies, because they had a couple of days to process the reaction from what Obama said. And there wasn't, mass panic and all the rest of it. And then, Trump says it, or Trump makes the statement that he made and gives the directive that he gives. And now, that insulates him from some of the primary Democratic attack, because, well, Obama already said it. So they can't go with the, oh, look, he's, crazy or anything on that line. So, you have that whole orbit being set up here for months. And now in the middle of it, the Epstein files drop. Now maybe the Epstein files drop, is what changed it from being a slow burn from between Obama to a Trump summer speech. and they said, let's just pull that up now and do it versus, so again, what I don't think the scenario was that, everybody suddenly jumped in a room and said, oh, Epstein files hit, we need a diversion, and came up with this.
Yeah, I don't see them working together, especially with all the political shit that's been going on with the Crossfire Hurricane stuff. I just, not to bring it to politics, but I don't see Trump and Obama.
It wouldn't even have to be them, though. It would be the people that are behind the scenes booking them, wiggling out this plan, right? Trump and Obama would never be, calling each other. Imagine that call.
Right.
Imagine that'd be
What
a fun call.
what the fuck do you want?
Yeah. But okay, I want to ask a very pointed question. Do you guys think, and again, from Gene's background to Vito, you as the, not newcomer, but the general mindset of someone, I want to hear these thoughts. Do you actually see some sort of tangible disclosure on the horizon?
Yes.
Let's start with Vito.
Yeah, I do. I
What do you
do,
mean?
because it's almost inescapable at this point with what they're doing. It's because it is, you brought up the Epstein files, which was a great thing, because if you've been going through them like I have, and I've been reading as much as I can, you'll see that a lot of the Epstein files coincide with some of this UFO disclosure. Like, Epstein was very big into this stuff, and then he was linked into just about every little thing that's been going on, from global warming to UFOs to scientists to interdimensional travel. The dude had his hand in just about everything. It's like, who the hell was this dude at this point? So yes, I think at some point this year or next, we're going to see something. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys feel it, but I feel like something's coming, if that makes sense. It feels like something big is coming.
All of the
I can't hear you. There we go.
There we go.
You can't remove me without.
I am Lord.
I am Lord. I forgot we're sharing the this feed.
Can't get rid of me.
I think so it's funny. I saw a comment someone shared on X where it was a woman wrote, what if the satanic baby or what if the baby eating Satanists are actually the aliens?
I was thinking the same
this
thing.
is Trump's way of saving. And I had to take a step back, and I'm like,
it's crazy.
You know what? That's actually a plausible scenario, that you can have on the table now.
Well, that was one of the jokes that Jeffrey Epstein was a lizard or whatever. He was one of the
Listen, that's not like,
it's
again,
crazy.
No. We've talked about this.
In the grand scheme of things.
We've talked about this, about Ghislaine and there's this. So she would have, just like Epstein would have the girls, Ghislaine had the guys, right? And she wanted them all to be like this Norwegian, blonde hair, blue-eyed, and then they would their hair would go like missing out of the drain inconspicuously. And it's like, again, I've brought this up so many times, but again, if you're blackmailing,
you remember who else wanted all blonde haired, blue eyes?
I do.
In history.
I do.
So I think, I let's not go too far down the Epstein rabbit hole, right? But I think it is, as far as something tangible coming out, and maybe to Vito's point, it is part of this overriding theme press of transparency and accountability, right? And it's got to start somewhere, and it's gonna be ugly, right? If that's what we want the truth, we want transparency, and we want accountability, then some ugly details are going to have to emerge for that to begin happening. And they're going to have to, we're probably going to have to withstand a lot of it for a long time as we go through it. Do I think something is going to come out of it? Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, it's about when it comes to the public and people who have not been informed or are not as informed on the wide breadth of sub issues throughout this topic. It's going to be a slow rollout.
I wanted to do like a column look. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow rollout of what gets released. It's not going to be this just giant floodgates opening and everything gets dropped, and go pick your favorite topic and dive into it. They are going to have to consider taking the public on a much longer, more methodical journey where as information is released, it all leads to the next logical question in the public mind. And so, was on a space earlier, we were talking about this. My personal opinion, I think it has to start with the technology. And when we break down the technology, then the next natural question is, who's operating that technology? And then as we learn more about who is created and operated the technology, what have our relationships been with them? And we will look at the official relationships, if any, and we will look at the unofficial relationships between whomever and humanity. And then we will, so it's a pipeline, and things are going to be inserted in that pipeline along the way.
Do you guys think that government, because, all right, do you think there's a, because David Grush talked about this in the Ross Coulthart interview specifically, because in Grush's whistleblower complaint to the ICIG, there was a line that he was approved to talk about contracts, like between NHI and humans.
Yeah.
Do you think that I mean, if something like that's going on, we're not going to find out about that?
So the only issue I have with the contract is, what is the enforcement body? How is that contract enforced? If there is a breach of that contract, what mechanism then exists for the enforcement? What leverage is there that is over both parties to the contract?
You're talking about contract with UFOs and aliens and stuff like that?
Well, right. So there's an agreement between, now, is it the standard gentleman's agreement handshake, and it's just a goodwill agreement? Is it is it the case of, which isn't an agreement, it's coercion, where they say, we're going to take so many people per year, you're going to stay quiet about it, and no, we don't like that. Well, we're going to take them anyway, and you can't stop us, really.
Yeah, what can you do, right?
That is not a contract. That is not an agreement.
That's just me telling you what's going to happen.
Just me telling you how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, say something like that is going on. Do you think that's what do you think that the public is ready to hear that we've been working with them?
Well, to give, I mean, listen, there's a lot of missing people. Why? Yeah. People just go missing randomly. They just disappear.
And you say working with them like we have a choice.
Right. It's just kind of like allowing them to do it, or, the worst cases, we're all in cages.
Yeah. I think you and I talked about it before, right? We don't see the nation's best and brightest disappearing.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
We see,
no,
you
do
guys
not.
on a lake somewhere out in the middle of the nowhere.
Zap.
Right. What was the old joke, at least when I was a kid, right? It's people in trailer parks. It's,
Southerners and the simple folk.
The simple folk, right? That has always been the stereotype of who it is, who are abducted. Now, obviously, there are abductees now that we know who are highly educated, very skilled, very competent, credible people and whatnot.
They were just smart enough to keep quiet.
But in terms of popular culture, right? this is what we're talking about. Vito, to your point, the missing people, again, a lot of times, they're, people not necessarily with deep ties to communities and things like that. So, I mean, it's but this, to say, is the public ready to know we're working with them? Well, that doesn't equate to us working with them. It equates to what might be the national security issue that the government cannot prevent.
It's not like we could stop them. I mean, it's our technology is this empty nerds box compared to theirs is the iPhone. It's just this isn't beating that. You know what I mean? It's just it ain't happening.
It's not happening.
No.
And then and so the thing is, well, do we need to superficially, yes, of course, yes, we need to defend against it and whatnot. What's the public reaction to that? Well, again, you could step outside tomorrow and get hit by a bus. You could be picked up by a serial killer and throw Samantha Gunther's, poor mother, kidnapped, whatever that scenario is. There's plenty of ways you could still disappear anyway. But what I think that speaks to, just to extrapolate it further, is then we're not talking about a situation that we're working with them for that to happen. We're talking about we don't have the ability to stop it. So then does all of that then point to answering the question, and does the government know this answer to the question of what their intent and purpose is? And again, former intel guy, right? I've run this as a scenario several times, really trying to look at, from the evidence and information that we have, what would the purpose be? And the purpose would essentially be that, Earth represents, the Earth is a unique biosphere within this one solar system. And perhaps all of these species are observing, are scientifically interested in the biosphere, which includes the life forms that are here, which includes what's under the water, which includes what's in the heavily vegetated areas, in the deserts, and all of these, all of the diversity of the Earth in all things. Because maybe, again, in other galaxies, maybe there's 3 planets. Maybe what's unique about us is this is the only place where there's only one planet that maintains life,
right?
Right? Maybe
Absolutely.
other galaxies have 3 or 4 planets,
and they're all it's like it's a daisy chain of life where they're interacting with us. It's no big deal.
And maybe there's some other galaxies that there's no life that's sustainable.
Yeah,
but
which
here's so we're an anomaly to them because there's one planet that somehow has made it.
Okay. Do you think what would you think is the one case? Say, okay, they're gonna they go to Pete Hegseth. They get everyone together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, what case do we grab and use as our catalyst to come forward?
It's probably going to be whatchamacallit, the
Roswell?
Yes. Yeah, because it's the one that's like because it's the big name. It's the one. You know what I mean? It's the most well-known one in the States, or one of the most well-known.
So you guys don't think like
I don't think it's going to be a case. I think it's going
to be numerous things. Yeah,
I think it's going to be categories that, like I broke down, and they're going to start with the category of technology. Now that might lead to where did it come from and discussions of the case. But I don't think, this isn't going to be a, case files of incidents in popular culture and let's dissect each one of them. this is going to be.
So you don't think it'll be like, okay, guys, grab Roswell. Let's wheel like everything we have, put it out there. This is the baseline. And now we just establish from there, right?
I think it's going to be, yes, there were crash recoveries. Yes, we have, obtained.
But that leads to so many follow-up questions.
Right.
But almost too many.
The point. That's the point. That's exactly the point. So if we start with that, right, and then everyone's like, oh, well, what about Roswell? Da, 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 da. And then
what about 9/11?
What about Mirabelle? What about this? What about
and then the experts start coming in, right? So the government gives the big general category, and then the experts come in and lead the discussions publicly. And and there becomes the drips around that. Yes, Roswell actually was an alien crash, and yes, this was actually that, and blah blah blah, and they begin measuring and measuring the public sentiment, right, about those things, and then that's where we start hearing about and having discussions about accountability. And who the good guys were, who the bad guys were, what families were ruined, blah blah blah. People want to start with, right now, who do we have to put on the, put in the firing line, and who can we throw in jail right now for that? And I am telling you, that is such a premature way of looking at it, right? And amnesty and all the rest of it is absolutely premature to start talking about, because this entire rollout is going to be generational. And and retribution and reparation and amnesty and all of those things are going to come in the form that they have come in, the same form they have come in throughout humanity's history, that somewhere down the line there's going to be some statues. There's going to be some walls with names on them. There's going to be some president who eventually stands up and makes an apology on behalf of the American people of the year 2345. I would like to say, I am sorry on behalf of the United States to, the farmer at Roswell.
Mac Brazel.
Right. That's what this looks like.
Okay.
Vito,
you think the same?
For a reality check.
Yeah, for the most part. The thing that someone just said in my chat is every abductee will now have to be taken seriously, which is going to be a liability for the government. We'll have to explain how they knew about and allow these people to be marginalized and harmed. So there's that. The amnesty thing is going to be a big deal, because you've got everyday people that just, the cleaner or the guy that mops the floor in the alien facility. Like, there's hundreds of people that work in these places, right? So all of them are exposed to this stuff at some point, and a lot of them end up with all kinds of problems. It's almost like the victims of 9/11. Everybody who worked on that pile ended up with some type of form of cancer or something like that. And the government had to then now go and pay for it. So you better believe the same thing is happening with these UFOs. If they're trying to reverse engineer it, there's going to be a lot of, oops, we fucked up and pushed the wrong button and vaporized Steve. So they're going to have to at some point accommodate for that shit,
Well, again, and maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? Steve was a government employee when Steve got
signed a contract
incinerated
for sure,
and all of that.
Yeah.
Steve's family has already received the insurance payout.
Yep.
But is it now? Yeah, but Steve's family received the insurance payout for whatever the bullshit excuse was that they used that Steve died.
They don't need that. They don't need an excuse. It's built into the contract.
What's the matter?
If you die on
the job accident.
Yeah, on the job. That's all their life. That's and to protect national security, he had a job on. He had an accident on the job. That's it.
Now, what about the rumor for 2027 with?
But because that's even like, say someone dies in combat on a classified mission,
right?
The family's not going to know that it was that mission, that it was this.
Right.
Unless, you know what I mean?
They get their $100,000 and then they're flat.
Yeah.
Right. And the same way,
I'm just worried about them positioning this as a national security threat.
Well, again, it can still be a national security threat, but to Vito's point, well, somebody got abducted. Well, who when somebody's abducted when a child is abducted by, you know, the next door neighbor, does the city pay a fine? Does the
No.
city compensate? Does when, you know, a serial
No, because
family,
the city didn't enter into a possible contract with that person that
But
killed
the
kid.
state,
but
the
that, but
states
you're
wouldn't
assuming
have.
that there's a contract between
I mean, listen, if
a
it's
government
let's
entity and
let's
it's
all
not just the government saying we can't do anything about it, and that's the national
right.
security risk.
But let's all use common sense. 9 times out of 10, if there's rumors, a lot of these rumors are true. I mean, look at all this conspiracy shit with, say, the Epstein. I don't want to keep bringing up Epstein, but you kind of have to, because everything that just fell on that. Now it's like all the crazy shit that we've all talked about, all this crazy conspiracy theorists. Every fucking thing is true. Everything
Right.
from the kids eating to the pizza to the jerky to the this to the hunting people.
So
Like it's
okay.
to the blatant
So
racism. It's insane. It's all
I'll
true. So now I
yeah.
want to know about this UFO shit. Is
So
all this true?
I'll acquiesce. I'll acquiesce for the sake of, you know, for the sake of entertainment, that there is a formal contract then that has been written between the alien representatives and the world government representatives. Then, as part of that contract, all of those remedies have already been spelled out.
I would believe so. It would be hammered out.
Although, right,
Nothing
all that-
left to chance. Nothing left to.
If there is a
Well,
contract,
you would assume,
and
because the contract is assumed to never have gotten to be gotten out. Do you know what? Does that make sense? Like, it's assumed that they never thought that they'd be at this point. Did you guys ever think that we'd be at this point in less than
well,
100 years?
Honestly, I did.
marriage
In our
is-
our
marriage is-
lifetime.
marriage is
Yeah,
a
I did.
contract.
I've been saying it for a
You know,
long time.
Marriage is a contract, and that you don't enter that contract assuming that contract's ever going to be broken, but
True.
they get broken all the time.
True.
Well, okay.
You know, that is, you know, if we're
So-
talking a actual physical contract.
Yeah, superficial stuff aside, because the contract thing, and the reason I brought it up is because when Roscoe tried to pin Grush down, and really, like, he's like, he even said it, like, I'm gonna have to pin you down here, and Grush was very, even though it was in his ICIG complaint, it was known about, he really didn't want to go into it. And like, what if we find out that we've murdered beings what if first contact, we murdered something?
That could be. I mean, it could be
That's
possible with Roswell.
barbaric.
It's claims that we brought those down, and not only that, I'm curious as to listen. If someone shoots one of
Are
our planes
we,
down, what do we want?
the fucking demons?
Possibly.
Listen, you know, we've talked about it. What if we are the result of alien genetic engineering, right?
Mhm.
And that there was a point in history where they decided to try some cross DNA, and they artificially inseminated some young woman in the Middle East, and then 33 years later, you know, they're like,
Jesus.
oh, let's check in on this guy. That, holy shit, they nailed him to a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Jesus
I
was
mean,
space alien. Yeah, it could be possible. I mean, listen, she got pregnant by what? By the air? By God,
an
allegedly?
angel,
Like,
right? You know, but this is what
What does that sound like? It sounds like immaculate conception sounds like IVF.
immaculate. Yeah, it sounds like immaculate insemination is what
I
it
mean,
sounds like to
whatever
me.
it is.
Yeah.
The point being,
Artificial
right, the
insemination.
point being, we are a barbaric and violent race, and species.
I think that would go a long way. Hear me out. That would go a long way in showing that that actually whoever they are, the visitors, it would show more about them
Yes.
having restraint, that we've been consistently dickheads, and they haven't just thrown an asteroid at us from the asteroid belt.
And so, which then begs the question, right?
What is the
They're
relationship?
showing up and they're like, oh my God, what a bunch of assholes, but they're still here. So they're not here because they like us. and you know, they are here because we are interesting in some way.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
a
like
container.
We
Like
are a
Lazar
biosphere.
said.
You can buy one off of TikTok if you want. Buy
What?
According to the Epstein files, you could.
What?
Holy
I mean, you
shit.
can buy your own little biosphere and take the plants and the dirt that come in it and put water from your sink in it, and
Oh yeah, right.
and it will last for 1,000,000 years once you seal it all up.
That's
and then
very true.
you're going to be the little face in there, and eventually organic matter's developing and processing.
Yeah.
And,
it is wild. Like life is
we
special.
just might be the same thing.
So pushing it even further now, a big thing that's been coming up online now that the Trump thing, all of that's out there. A lot of people are talking like Timothy Alberino. There's this big debate that's started to happen about like demons and aliens. And I mean, what do you guys think? Like, are we talking about the same thing, or is there a separation between a demon and an quote unquote extraterrestrial non-human intelligence?
Well, if one is good and one is bad, wouldn't that be the separation? And I think one is interdimensional and one is interplanetary. I think there's different things that are visiting us. That's what I think.
Well, I think if, again, touching on the Epstein files again, I think if it shows us one thing, it shows us that evil is absolutely real.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God,
right?
yeah.
Evil exists.
Boy, does it.
Is some sort of manifestation of evil. Like for me, when I was drinking, there's a reason they call alcohol spirits, right? Because it possesses you. It turns you into a different person, right? So if evil is as tangible as, say, gravity, and it is a force that can act upon us in our realm, if evil can influence us, maybe demons embodied don't exist, but that is a demonic, that is evil influencing matter on Earth, right? So if that exists, the implications of that alone are also tremendous.
Yep.
Because now we're different. We're dealing with very, very superficial like things here, very, very complex phenomena.
And supernatural, yeah. And also, it could, kicked out of the Congo line.
You're talking about.
Sorry, Vito.
You're talking about good and evil.
I got distracted by comment.
Good and evil in the sense of external upon us, right? What about the good and evil of us? That's in your own heart,
Yeah.
right? That's in every individual. So we're criticized again, because devil's advocate, right? We're criticizing the killing. We're worried about them killing us. Are we as worried about us killing them? Are we? And
how are they not like getting even per se? Because if you take down one of my planes, I want to like take your whole country out. You know what I mean?
Right. But listen, what happened? What happens when an explorer goes into the jungle and gets eaten by a lion? Right. We don't go out and we don't kill every lion,
right?
Because we're the researchers who have shown up in another creature's domain. Right. So when Steve Irwin got pierced in the heart by a stingray, the Australian government didn't go out and slaughter every stingray. They were like, well, Steve Irwin was sitting around and he was doing it. He was doing it responsibly.
War on the stingrays.
Right. He was doing it responsibly, and one of them struck out and killed him.
But we're also and what if we're dealing with someone, like, what if we find out because I think we would assume, right, that we are the top dog on this planet. No. What if we're not? And what if that's the big reveal? They're not aliens. They're ultra terrestrials, and our domain that we thought was ours is not ours. That's going to cause a problem, a rift.
I think it was S. Hunter Thompson said that our dominance ends at the shoreline.
Right.
Once we enter the water, we become part of the food chain, and we are not always on top.
Right, and that's what I mean. So like when we shift, because again, when one alpha meets another alpha, they both can't be the alpha. There's you know what I mean? Right. So when they do inevitably reveal themselves to us, they are what I would assume would be the alpha, and we would have to humble ourselves. But we already have like tremendous issues with racism and nationalism and all that, and gender, and I get that's all very like.
And what if they tell us we're wrong?
That's right.
What if they tell us our morals are wrong? If they come down and they look at our healthcare system, and what if they think we're just ridiculous for trying to prolong lives that can't be saved in 24 hours?
There's sad realities that I think would come to play.
And they say, oh no, the order of the universe is survival of the fittest.
Yeah, again.
Yep.
Again, that's a big
so
veto.
I also think, just if I can finish that thought, so I'm not necessarily convinced yet of the inevitability of them becoming part of our everyday life, and there being some sort of integration and, multiverse, as you're walking down the street type scenario. I still lean much more towards we are a biosphere being observed. The government can open every file on it tomorrow, and you are still not going to step outside and see, you are not going to see 30,000 UFOs out in the sky tomorrow just because the government makes an announcement about them. I think everything continues on status quo. Some people will see it. Some people will experience. The vast majority will not.
That's kind of how I want it to kind of be like that. I don't want it to be some kind of because I'm afraid of like some world ending nonsense, because it's going to turn into like Apocalypse Now if that's the case. It should go if they truly are is it benevolence the word to say for kind? If they truly are benevolent, it should go from being engaged to being married. There should be no difference, if that makes sense. There should be like no major difference if that's the case. If we're in some shit, then we're in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's like it's catch-22 for me. Like I'm worried it's either or.
If it's apocalyptic, you're not even going to know about it. You're just not going to be here anymore.
90% of people are going to be dead in the first 6 months.
Just a light switch.
Yep, dead in the first 6 months.
I mean, I think we fantasize a lot more about and again, it's in the popular culture, right? You sit there for 2 hours and watch a movie about 30 years of desperation and all the rest of it. It could just be over in a second.
This is not Independence Day. Like anybody who thinks that we're gonna have some crazy or like heroic comeback, it's just no. We're gonna get mopped off the face of the earth like we weren't even here.
Yeah, I don't think. I have a hard time. No one wants to rule over dust and ash, right? And that would effectively, maybe time doesn't work the same for them, but if you hit us with an asteroid, that's the Great Reset again, right?
Yep.
So how long do they have to wait to restart the program, right? I get it, but so let's just say that they don't want to invade us. They don't want to change anything on the day to day, right? Maybe they don't even want to be involved, and they're just giving us that freedom to acknowledge that they are there. They're given that becomes global. The understanding that we're not alone. Nothing changes with the relationship between us and them, right? For the most part. Of course, over years, I think that would like I think that's what we're in for, is a slow integration before open contact, because open contact is a much different thing than disclosure.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people don't realize, is that there's two different things.
Yeah.
Just because the president says aliens are real doesn't mean that some ultra terrestrial is just going to come to your party now.
Right.
End up on Joe Rogan.
Some Nordic's gonna be chilling in your club, like, hey, what up?
So, okay, Robert, do you guys know the name Robert Bigelow
Yeah.
of Bigelow Aerospace?
Mhm.
He did a pretty famous 60 Minutes interview where he said that there are, again, I'm using his words, aliens walking among us, extraterrestrials walking among us.
Mhm.
Do you think that is true? And
Yeah.
we'll get
Yeah.
to where I want to go.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't care. If I'm being honest, so what? So what am I supposed to do about that?
That's a valid point.
Fair point. Yeah.
I mean, like, am I supposed to, I'm going to walk around the street now, looking at everybody, trying to figure out if they're in it. And even if I figure out they're an alien, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, there's so much of this stuff that comes out. It's like what becomes frustrating about it, because so if it's true, okay, then great. Then we can all live together. And I guess it's no big deal, is actually what he said, what he should be saying, right? If he's not being self-interested in pushing his position as an insider with, knowledge. So if that is true and there are all aliens living amongst us, then I guess the big announcement is there are aliens that are living amongst us. You can't even tell the difference. So don't
Why
even worry
bother?
about it.
Why
So
bother?
why are we worrying about any of this then?
Right.
Because
That
then
is a
it is
trip.
obviously no big deal.
That's a trip. Vito, what do you think?
I tend to agree with him. Like, there really is, at the end of the day, there's nothing we can really do about it. Like, whether they're going to be kind or mean, we're just kind of along for the ride. I would just like to know the truth, like, kind of have like an idea of what's coming. I think that would be, helpful.
But okay, nothing's coming. Nothing's coming. Aliens live amongst us and they interbreed with us and all the rest, and they have been for centuries. And we have what we have right now.
But
how disappointing, right? That's ultimately what it becomes. How disappointing.
Yeah, Mick West would love that. Mick West, he'd love it.
We're both right. We are both right and wrong.
Well, okay. I guess that may so, but doesn't it invoke this idea that we may be part of something larger, and that we are on the precipice of entering into the first stages of acknowledging that, and thus acknowledging that, expanding our consciousness just by happenstance?
Sure.
So basically, Star Trek Year One, basically, like
seriously though,
yeah.
Like, is this not a first domino that falls to leading towards to some? Because if you think about it, like, look at where the robotics sector is,
dude.
Like,
That shit scares me.
DARPA's funding Boston Dynamics, right?
Fuck Boston Dynamics. You see those Chinese robots, brother? They were breakdancing and doing martial arts, and it
Are you
was
sure
like
that wasn't AI, dude?
No,
maybe
Boston Robotics ones, they do backflips.
No, I know, but
the Chinese one that they were just doing was insane. It's one that they just did recently.
Well, I know the Chinese ones are meant to they're meant to actually
intimidate.
battle.
Yeah.
No, they're like military.
Yeah, these things.
Meant for it.
These things were doing like.
But if you guys don't think that if that Boston Dynamics is being funded by DARPA, what we see, the ones doing backflips, if you don't think behind the scenes that they're testing some sort of super soldier, you're out of your mind.
know they are.
For sure they
right.
Yeah,
right. So
about that for years.
So again, I don't think it has to be one or the other, right? confirming the existence that we're not alone, I don't think, because people often think that, well, that would lead to a catastrophic rollout of all the ways that we've advanced by reverse engineering this technology. And again, I don't think that goes hand in hand. I think, again, for the same reason that we know thermonuclear weapons exist,
Right.
but we don't know how to build one, nor should we.
Right.
Right? I don't, especially, and then like the directed energy weapons, if those are, and we know those are real,
Yeah,
I
Venezuela.
don't think everyone should be able to have one of them.
Right.
Right. So again, I think a lot of people are concerned that this is going to cause some catastrophic failure in our systems, like in our government, in our religion, like the everyday life that we live, the things we take for granted, they're going to be shaken to the foundation and to the core.
I think even if that happens, it's a short-term thing, right? And we're going to be upset about it for a day, a week, and then
On to the
something
next.
else, then something else is right. Exactly. The nature of what we do is going to slip back into normal routine and normal progression, and the things will happen behind the scenes, and the science will develop, and the institutions will mature, and the laws will be written, and the laws will be taken away, and we will grow old, and we will be long, long gone before the Jetsons and the alien living next door and all the rest of that ever happens, right? It's
Fair enough.
it is generational. So again, I think it is we are certainly living through history, right? And beginning with the directive to begin to research and declassify this information. But I get this feeling that everyone thinks like Monday morning that all these files are going to be there, and then by Friday the Galactic Federation headquarters is going to be doing a press conference on this, and by next summer we're all zipping
Open
around in our fucking
contact.
space cars.
Jetson, open
So-
contact.
So I'm not getting a med bed. I'm not getting one.
I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's
Classic.
right. It's fascinating. It's all of those things. But again, we can only keep our arms around what we keep our arms around, right? Let's start with actually getting the information. Here's a novel idea. Let's actually see what we get before we start worrying about it.
Which is fair enough. It really is. It is fair enough. But I also have a kind of a worry, because if the mainstream takes hold of this story, does it lose something?
I am so glad you brought that up.
Fake bullshit that we
I'm-
can see through, narratives sprouting up about this and that we're all like, wait, what are you fucking talking about? Like, seriously,
So-
the saturation of the market.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, look what they do now to the media.
So is that what you're worried about?
No, not the saturation of the market, but actually the
So there was a comment yesterday, similar in spirit, let's say, that I read, where the person was reporting that we need to make sure our people are in this. That this is when the mainstream media gets control of this, people are going to start saying stupid things and coming to stupid conclusions.
maybe I did grab
And
it subliminally like
our
that.
people need to be. We need to have our people, and it was being echoed in the comments right? And people,
Right.
yes, we got to make sure, Corbell's there. We got to make sure this one's there.
Oh no!
But regardless.
Whoops.
But my response to that was literally, I was like, wow. So the gate kept are now scheming on how to become the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
That
Holy shit.
we are now, as a community, are we now afraid that somebody else, that if information comes out that is not what we've already predetermined in our head is the truth,
Oh no.
then we're going to lash out and be like, no, you're lying. So we want the files, we want the truth. What if we open them up and they are not what you think they are, what they're supposed to be?
Isn't that kind of what Grush said? He's like, be careful, kind of,
exactly.
Not gonna, he said they might not be as appealing to us in physical.
That's right.
It could look like a blown up ball sack for all we know. Like we don't know what they're going to look like.
Might not be as sexy as we want it to be.
It might not be that hot Twilight that I've always wanted. Yeah.
Right.
What is this?
It might very well be. Yes, we are just a biosphere, and
well, that's cool. Hey, thanks a lot there, Matt. That was cool, man.
Yo, dude. What does that
awesome.
mean? You can gift memberships?
Yeah. They have memberships, so they can see all your, like, if you set it up, you have like a back end to the channel. It's pretty cool.
So did he just buy 5 people memberships?
It should say that. Yeah, it should say that. Unless your moderators can give them out too.
Shit, he did.
Yeah, congratulations. Hey, man,
Yo,
that's good job, man.
That's fucking cool.
Yep.
So it says Titan of Terra, Nulthin, Thrones Above, Mona.09, Madsk. Oh, that's like actually like, that's fire.
Yeah, that's really
shout
cool,
out
man.
to Matt. Matt's a good dude. And he's been here for a lot since I've been talking about pop culture.
We should send him something.
Oh, actually, yeah. So, because that would cost a good amount of money to do.
We thought, we had been thinking about this.
Yeah, so we have these. Is it on Gene only?
Let me see that. No, it's on you. It's on everybody.
It's on you. Yeah.
Okay. So
do the fist thing.
Do the fisting.
Yeah, he did that thing with the camera and he brought his fist back and it brought his camera real clear.
So,
ooh, that's cool. I want one of those.
I gave you one.
Gene.
No, you didn't.
Gene, explain it while I'm holding it.
So this is part of the foundational work of the Chernobyl Research Archive and Research Institute. The acronym stands for the Anomalous Systems Intelligence and Reconnaissance Program. This is something that we're developing to actually field test some of the works of my father-in-law, where we believe that we actually have predictive capabilities on where the craft travel and how they operate.
Thank you.
And that is our kickoff mission patch.
So yeah, anyone who sends a super chat that's $10 and above, the email is in the description below. Send us your address and we'll send you one.
If you swap
limited supply though,
and I'll if Matt's interested, we can send him a book too.
Yeah, limited supply. We have a couple books to give away as well. And like I said, we're the guests that we're bringing in. I'm bringing in guests like Angela Ford, Michaela Fashar, who's a all source analyst. And then we have other guests coming in like Danny Sheehan. We got guests like Whitley Strieber, like Dave Schindel, all coming to the studio. And then one really, really big one that we cannot say, not because like we're trying to be trust me, but because we need to get everything locked down before we ever talk about it. So with that being said, though, thank you, Matt, and thank you anyone for helps support the channel. It really means a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
So,
lights to
Matt,
pay
make sure
for.
you grab that email and send Ty your
Yeah.
information so we can
Please.
get stuff out to you.
If you swap the R and the I, it says ass rip.
What?
That's true.
Oh, very childish. I
I'm a
love it.
toddler. I'm sorry.
Very childish. I
I'll
love
be
it.
here all week. People try the
How-
Oh, J-Cat.
And I'm the youngest one here.
Yep.
You know
What
J-Cat?
the hell?
You know J-Cat, Ty?
So
In the chat? J-Cat.
no.
Hi.
No.
Yeah. He's the best.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Do you think religions are going to like kind of like jump on the bandwagon a bit?
I think people's religion is going to be enhanced. They're going to cling to it. I don't think that religion's going to go anywhere like we think it's gonna. Did you guys lose? We lost Ty, but I still see Gene. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think religion is going to basically anyone who's I'm not religious, but I see the need for religion. So I think, and from what I've spoken to people about in the back channels, I think religion is going to play a very big part in this, more so than what we think. I don't necessarily, know what that's going to be, but from what I've heard from people, it's going to be bigger, especially Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, I think undoubtedly there's going to be we'll probably find several conferences amongst world religious leaders on how, if those things haven't already, again, been discussed or exist already, again, as they start seeing it in their congregation, that's when they may start rolling out. We heard stuff from Pope Francis, right? He said, if there's life out there, then it is also likely of, divine creation. So,
I mean, the man's got an alien on his damn robe, so they know something,
Yeah.
They know something.
I was just getting the echo, and
yeah, there's a little bit of echo on Gene.
Yeah.
It's not too bad on my end, but
yeah, Ty's doing some.
He's working his wizardry, huh?
He's working some wizardry.
He's under the desk with wires yanking out and shit.
Oh, we got that. Not that wire.
Yeah, not that wire.
Yeah, not that wire. That's not a wire.
Your hands are cold. Your hands are cold. Warm your hands.
Get out of there.
Yes, we're gonna right to the toddlerism, Ty. Absolutely. As soon as you're off camera, we just we misbehave.
That's it. Once the adults out of the room.
But I think religion is going to. Originally, I always thought that religion was going to take a back end, but I think this is going to enhance it, especially when you have them talking about the interdimensional beings. To me, that's demons and aliens. Like you guys were talking about that before. To stupid humans, of course, a glowing being coming through the mist of whatever is going to be an angel to you or God.
Whatever makes them comfortable to be able, again, this is generational, right? So if the first iteration of this
I got it. I fixed it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if the first iterations, again, it will mature over time, right? It's you're going, it's like I said with the like the ancient alien stories, right? If there was this period of time on Earth when, the star people lived amongst and interacted with humanity, and then they started going back to their star systems and left people behind, right? The people who were here and remember it was all very real, but that next generation that's born into it, they're hearing the story from their parents and then their grandparents and then their great grandparents, and then it's a family, a community and a tribal story, and then it's a family story, and 10 generations down the line, it is fantasy and history, it's metaphors. They were never actually here. That generation was just stupid because we're so smart now.
Yeah.
This is going to be the same, same thing almost, I guess, in reverse, right? Where there will be a time when people will think it's so bizarre. How how did we not, how did my great grandpa Gene not know that?
And the thing
as
is
they're
that
sitting in high school with their alien counterpart, right? How
Yeah.
did they not know? There was a time you didn't exist, huh?
but the thing is like we did know.
Again,
But that's what they won't
right?
understand though, is that we did know. It was just because again, the history books calculate things in like, when did the government acknowledge it? When did it
when
officially
did it become part of sort of general
Right.
consensus knowledge?
Right.
of-
And I think that it is of course it's always a sign, right? The civil rights movement was a build up to the Civil Rights Act, right?
Absolutely.
But this is a little different, right? This is like, I mean, this is truly,
You asking me or you telling me?
no, this is truly a paradigm shift that's you can't, it's almost unquantifiable, because it means it affects every single person on the planet. And I said this last night, but it affects every single person on the planet, because when you, whether rich, whether poor, whether, too short, too tall, too overweight, too skinny, like black, white, green, when you go up and you stand on the mountaintop and you look into the vastness of the cosmos, you will be forced to see yourself differently.
So let's role play for a second then, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's just imagine the announcement that came out of President Trump's office was that the Earth rotates around the sun.
Did I miss the joke?
You trying to say the other way around, like the sun, the
Did
sun
I miss the
rotates?
joke? Did anyone else get it? What do you mean?
Right?
Is he trying to say it the other way, like that?
There was a point in history
where the Earth was the center of the universe,
where the Earth was the center of the universe.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
or that the ice wall is real and the Earth's
But
really
see-
flat and all that other bullshit. It's like, it's fucking lunacy.
that's so beyond your comprehension now.
Yeah, I'd want to fight somebody like instantly. I just want to go out
Right.
the street and punch someone in the mouth.
That's so far beyond your comprehension now, because of what we know.
Right.
That you're like,
Of course it does.
Of course.
I think the Earth is special. I think that the Earth is more special than what we know. I think it's like a jump point because of the interdimensional, all the portal
Well,
stuff.
I think that comes after.
But the point
life.
being, in that moment, when it's like, wait, we are not the center of the universe, and we move around other things. Oh, do you not think there were religious leaders and everybody thinking that the catastrophe, a chance to, for a super chat,
For a $20 super
for-
chat, we
for-
could we could make it happen.
yeah,
No, but that was okay. Understandable. That's a good
Right? Good analogy.
good
In-
analogy.
In
yeah.
that moment, that was, no, it was heresy. They killed the man for it.
Yeah, it killed a lot of man. I think we're gonna get
And
our minds are gonna be blown with the shit that's gonna come out. That's what I'm hoping for. Like,
So, okay.
Yeah, I hope so too.
back to it.
Great.
Back to it. With what we think. So, what is like again playing conspiracy here,
Mhm.
right? Let's say like there's the first press conference. We're past the we're not alone part. Now we're in the next phase of like what comes next, right? What do you think? How do they roll this out? Is it just a file dump of everything that they deem like
I think it's gonna be that, because now you have to go search it. It's like the Epstein files.
Right.
Like it's not.
Exactly.
They're
And
not
you
going to
don't-
give you.
yeah.
Now you got to go find it, stupid. And even with the Epstein files, you still have to type certain things. Like if you type .movie or .jpeg or MP4, then certain things will show up.
Yeah, I
in a
know,
way,
but
their smartest
also-
move would be just to do a 130 million file down.
because they know 99% of the people aren't even going to touch it.
Hell no, no,
Right.
absolutely not. I will.
So, but then again, that 1% that does, like with the Epstein files, like there are people that are so dedicated to this that I told you last night that there's this Jmail server, and
JTube. Come on, JTube.
no. So for the Epstein files, it's an email list, right?
Oh, yeah.
So someone took the time and recreated a Gmail interface for the files, so it can be searched just like a Gmail. It's got it's set up exactly like a Gmail. You cannot tell the difference.
Send me that.
You can search it. You can navigate it. You can use keywords just like you could in like your actual email, like your Gmail, but it's Jmail. And someone created this, and all like you can star emails just like you can star them in your email, right? But in this case, he kind of flipped it. And so anything that gets like a lot of stars gets on the starred page, because, and that's the stuff like the videos and like the sulfuric acid email, like that's up there. Dude, it's like people are willing to do the work. And honestly, whoever made that Jmail, shout out to
Hell
you.
yeah.
You
Jeff
are
Tube.
hero.
There's a Jeff Tube also. It's like a YouTube with the videos and the pictures.
So there's again, people will make the infrastructure. There just needs to be the files. So I think if they do a file dump, we could, because the Epstein thing is in the news every day right now, right? So that it's still big. It's just not.
And Vito, if you
Prince Andrew's now arrested.
He's been arrested.
Good. Yeah, good.
What?
Good. But listen, I'm
listen. Political standpoint.
We need to start arresting Americans, dude. Enough of this bullshit. Why are we letting England take the point on this? We know what's up. Start prosecuting these pieces of shits. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah.
But what if this is the shiny object to make us forget? That I think we need to really keep that at the forefront.
There's room for both, and that's the thing that I'm trying to say to people. There is room for both of these things, and they go hand in hand.
Yeah, Nancy Mace, who I'm, I had a relationship enough with her to be able to allow Bob Salas to brief her. I don't always agree with her politics, but again, bipartisanship for this, right? She is very much, because like Michael Shermer, they're all saying like, oh, it's a distraction, another distraction, yada yada. And she said, no, we could do both. We can do both. Like, fuck this. We could do both. And that's why I've always liked her, despite not, because again, I think
it's the public attention.
With the modern, with the modern world the way it is like if we don't agree, we're enemies. Right. And that never was the case politically. Like, we could be Republican or Democrat and at the end of the day still shake hands.
Right. It's
not like that anymore. And we need to get back to that.
But it's the same thing, right? Again, it's the public attention, and it's everybody, again, wants to, for some reason, seemingly follow one thing at a time. And it's like, believe it or not, I switched from looking at, alien and UFO stuff to, opera stuff to, ham radio things.
No, well, look at me. I do gaming and UFO shit. Like, I have two different channels.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I can manage.
I can do two things.
Absorbing information from more, and just back to and Vito, your work on the Epstein files. Just to clarify for everybody, because you tagged me in some post about daddy kink on that was for informational purposes.
No, I'm sorry. I was explaining. So
I'm sorry. Do I have to?
It almost came across like
no, it's not.
Do I have to file paperwork with someone?
No, I was explaining Jeffrey Epstein's his Fortnite name is Littlest Jeff. In the kink world, a little is a person that identifies as a child between whatever age and what. Yeah. So when and the fact that he's using that to play goddamn Fortnite. It's great.
Those games.
He tagged me in it for some reason.
No, I tagged a bunch. He was trying to get
again.
I tagged a bunch. I was tagging.
But again,
I tagged a bunch of names.
Going back to this point that evil is tangible and it exists. Fortnite, Roblox, all those games.
Yeah, look what Roblox just did.
Fortnite, they are populated by kids with their parents' credit cards, right?
Yep. And pedophiles.
And
It's the truth.
where do people who like kids in that way, where would you go? I'd either go to Nickelodeon.
Yep.
Or
A school
go
teacher.
to the
A school
gaming.
teacher.
Well, right.
Yes.
They can't go down to the arcade anymore now. They got
Yeah.
it online.
So,
but I mean, again, to the point, right? And you can, when you want to talk about evil and desensitivity and all the rest of it, these games are a way that some of this is happening.
Yeah.
When I was in the Air Force in the early 90s and they just started talking about drones, and the first thing I ever saw about drones and being a drone pilot was a PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they were teaching kids on them.
Wow, how brilliant. You're using something kids now, and like my kids were using a PlayStation, and it's like, oh my God, you're training my kids already how to fly a drone and operate a thing. You know?
Well, Gene, think about it like this. I'm a 49-year-old man, right? I've been playing games since I was 8.
Yeah.
Right. I'm used to playing on this damn controller. Like it's muscle memory. That's why the controllers are on the goddamn a video game controller, 100%, because these kids are so good. Like my son does crazy. Like, have you played Fortnite? These kids are building goddamn mansions while you're trying to shoot them in the head with a rifle. I'm like, what the
yeah, it's wild. But anyway, these games, there's litigation already out there about predators
with Roblox,
predators, yeah. But it's not just Roblox, it's all of them. It's
right, of
all of them that the kids play. Sean Ryan has a great guest on. He's had him on a couple times, and he's the guy who, like, he shows all like the hacking gadgets, and he's big into catching and like finding predators online.
Oh yeah.
Good.
So he used to be like
somebody needs to be.
Yeah, he used to be like he like admittedly was a bad person, and he was like a black hat hacker.
Yeah.
But then he turned white hat and like is now catching predators.
Good.
Online.
Good.
And
there's no room for that in this world for me. It's disgusting.
Exactly. And we need to elevate. So that is what I mean when like evil is real, but then you see someone who's giving their time. And by the way, this guy has dealt with nothing but shit for doing what he's doing, exposing predators. Yeah. He's getting shit for that by local cops, local authority, because he's doing their fucking job for them.
Right. Well, he's doing the job they refuse to do because they're in on it. That's what you got to see, man. They're all in on it.
We don't need aliens for that to be true.
Nope.
But that's what I mean.
Aliens for that evil to be existing.
But here we are in a world where we've admitted that the deep state exists, right? Daniel Inouye has given that's his speech where he talks about a shadow government operating above the law without oversight, with their own fundraising mechanisms, their own army, their own agenda. If we operate in that world where we know this sex ring was blackmailing the most powerful man, arguably the most powerful man publicly, the United States president. If that's not the deep state, if that's not the same thing, then am I crazy? But no one in ufology wants to touch it because it's a little dirty. And in my experience, you got to get a little dirty because honestly, the bad guys, they're playing dirty.
And they're winning.
And they're winning
because of it. Yeah.
And I'm not saying we stoop to that level, of course, but I'm saying that we're smart about it, right? And we're not just repeating the same processes, right? Like expecting a different outcome. The definition of insanity. We can't. Sometimes the system just doesn't work for what we need it to do.
I like this comment here. What about Prison Planet? We are the Australia of the
it could be
galaxies.
It could be.
Yeah, that's I've thought about that. But then again, I don't know if this is a prison. You sit in the middle of the Rockies and you look around. It's
I'm
gorgeous.
sorry, I just got so distracted by Mike Disclosure's comment.
It's
That's
gorgeous.
a
Or you stand at the
that's a
summit.
fake account.
If you stand at the summit of Everest,
Yeah.
you've worked all your life, right? Or you're down in the ocean and deep sea scuba diving, and you see, you know, the beauty of the ocean, the coral reef.
Well, that's what the Brits discovered when after they sent everybody to Australia. They're like, it's actually a pretty nice place.
Yeah. So this, if it's either the best engineered prison in the world, but I think what we really are is we are a place that's been deemed. Any place with life is probably like taken note of, and then it just by happenstance becomes a place that also has resources and everything. So it becomes a stop on this galactic highway, if you will, right? Because life sparked there.
That's kind of why I think the Earth is special in some way. I think it's like a
So people can
like
say
a highway.
Right.
Me?
It's a biosphere.
yeah,
People-
it's a but it's one that can be visited.
So again, and you hear people talk, oh, we're a zoo, we're this, we're that. Well, again, what is a biosphere? In the same way that we use it, a fish tank, a lizard,
Yeah, we're not trapping them, but we are
right
inhibiting them.
In that way, we are inhibited by our technology and our ability to go further than, I guess, our moon, if you believe it.
Do you guys? I mean, do you? Do you know? And there are some texts that talk
I
about
realize that wasn't up.
a time before the moon.
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
Yeah. Well, and again,
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how the Earth was during that time?
I've thought about that in terms of, and I was thinking a lot about that actually as a result of Dr. Villarreal's work, right? When she talked about the transient satellites and then, existing beforehand, and and these ideas of there being a time when Mars and even Venus were perhaps inhabitable. And have we, has humanity actually only been planet jumping within the solar system to the habitable zones? And is it sort of programmed somewhere deep in our DNA because we recognize these catastrophic events are going to happen and, and what happens? And so I thought about it in that sense of there being the time where perhaps we did inhabit Mars and we said, well, the problems are coming or we're exploring. What's the first thing so what did we do to Mars? We send satellites and we send probes, and now we're sending machines on the ground, and we're talking about inhabiting it, and we're talking about how we can change the atmosphere to make it breathable and all the rest of it. So if the reverse of that is true, perhaps there was a time the conditions existed here, but it was unstable. There were a lot of floods. There would be catastrophic global floods over certain cycles. And someone said, hey, if we can just pull an object in, then perhaps, pull an object in that can help regulate the water and the tides and all the rest of it. And they said, great.
They said the moon was brought here. It was
this thing in there. And that's why it sits there and all the rest of it.
And you also get
doesn't not make sense.
You also get tide, like you almost help life.
Well, the moon affects everything. It affects your mood swings. It affects during full moon, people are usually more in the mood. There's usually more chaos happening. Like full moons for me at work is fucking crazy usually.
Yeah. Even in the military, I'd see it. Military police, and any cop, any fireman will tell you.
I just did.
Any nurse. Any nurse.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. There he is.
It goes fucking crazy. Yeah. Every full moon, man, it's nuts.
That is kind of weird. It is true. I've noticed people have a change on the full moon.
Mhm.
And I think that's where like certain myth came from about the like, because in a lot of mythology the moon has influence, like supernatural influence on the world, right? Like there's a goddess of the moon, is a goddess, and there's all these things. And
There's
I mean,
there's a beautiful opera aria that's called Casta Diva, and it's a song to the moon, and that is in the opera. The scene where that happens is when these tribes come to this druid priestess and ask her to have the moon let them bring peace, and then that's the aria, and so they
wow,
turn to the moon in order to bring peace.
interesting.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Casta
Inter-
Diva. Look it up on Spotify.
I guess I will have to.
You're just a diva.
Yeah, just a diva.
But that's a divine goddess. That's what the Casta Diva is, divine goddess.
Do you think that through disclosure we might learn more about ancient civilizations by happenstance, by like maybe I don't know what they have in the Vatican archives, but like deep in the Vatican library, I think they do have some of that Alexandria library stuff. And do you think that maybe potentially we might learn more about like human origins? By checking one box, right, the army alone, we kind of get the other one too.
I would say 100% as soon as somebody puts the work into it, right? Like everything, they, what has to have, see this, because this is part of the problem too, right? That I think nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants the answers, but then nobody wants to do the work once they have the answer. Everybody
That's
wants
how it always
the
is.
access, but they want it all spoon fed to them, and then they just sit and criticize it and and tear apart what's being put. Listen, it's exactly what I go through with my father-in-law's works in the papers. The number of conversations I've been in where people are like, I explain the context of it, and they're like, oh, what about this? And I dive in deep into the detail to explain the particular thing and the engineering behind it, right? And explain that, and he's got all the mathematical formulas written out and all the rest of it. In the next breath, they just go back to what they already think that it is.
Right.
So even when presented with better information than they had available to them 30 seconds ago, they still just default back. So, the same thing is when you say they can open the Vatican archive and they'll just be like, well, what does it say about this? Or does this document? And then somebody will half-ass read something. All of this is going to take putting in a lot of hard work. And the vast majority of the people, even involved in this community, are not actually willing to put in any work. They are not actually willing to, roll up their sleeves and form a defendable position. They just want to send out information and tell you what they think about it, but they don't even actually want to examine it and be critical of themselves. And then anybody that is, and if it hasn't matched what they already think, then they just want to, say you're a jerk or a psyop or something like that.
You're part of the deep state operation against them.
Yeah. So again, totally think all of that's possible. It's just going to take the people who are willing to put in the work, and and that means investing time, and it means investing money.
But guys
do
like
it.
Graham Hancock and Randall Carson, they've already got that infrastructure and that research there. Guys like Robert Schoch,
Yeah.
But are they going to do it? That's the question.
Yes, they're gonna do it. I think so. That's their whole lives has been dedicated to this essentially.
Yeah.
So, but like, what about because the antiquities guy in Egypt, Zahi Hawass, like outside of the U.S., how far do you actually see this spreading? Like this disclosure effort. If the U.S. does go ahead, how far do you see it expanding? Because Zahi Hawass
globally
is in Egypt. Is he going to walk back everything that he's ever said and say, okay, aliens are they may have had a part to play?
I saw 2 comments in the Russian press, and one of them was essentially a somebody involved in the finance, senior sort of oligarch in the finance sector, not even a government official, who just kind of laughed it off. And the other one was like, oh, remember in 1950 something, the CIA used UFOs as a cover as part of the Bay of Pigs invasion. So they're not about to, they're not joining. They didn't seem too excited or worried about it or interested in it. And then it's not even, in the headlines in
the yeah, thank you so much, Thrones Above. That was cool.
Yeah, so I mean, Vito, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think how far does this go? Does it go to the Five Eyes only?
I think it's gonna go globally. You're gonna have England, you're gonna have Israel's going to say something. You're going to have Italy's going to say something. They've been trying. Italy looks like they've been trying to release disclosure for a year or so now. They've been trying to slow drip some shit out there, haven't they? So I think it's going to be global. I think Russia's going to come out with it. I don't know if China will, because they're very secretive. What do you think?
I mean, I don't think Russia didn't seem particularly inspired.
No, I think the Chinese actually are pretty open to the idea of it.
I think again everybody's gonna wait to see what actually it looks like out of the US.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah, they're gonna wait till we
they're gonna see what exactly does this look like.
But I think countries like Brazil, like he said, Italy, they might come quick right after.
Yeah, because Italy's been trying to drop the ball for a while, have they not? Like,
they're just not big. Like they're not, they're still recovering from the pandemic, unfortunately.
Well, now that we know it's the plandemic planned by Epstein, that is crazy.
Wait, what? You can't make those. You have to say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay, because that is a very, very, very matter of fact statement. So
it's in the emails. They planned it 3 years ago.
But so isn't like random spam from like Rogan is in the emails, but he never went to the island. It was him declining, right?
No. Yeah, no, I know about that. I'm talking about the actual email where they said he was planning it out with Bill Gates.
Okay, walk me through it. I want to hear it. But say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay. Allegedly.
Yeah, they were allegedly planning the pandemic. They were talking about releasing a pandemic. They were talking about hopefully this is going to work. The shit that's coming out is crazy. I don't have the direct email in front of me, but it's out there. Let me see if I can find it.
I mean, I could pull up the Gmail.
Yeah.
I'll send you guys the Gmail thing. It's actually so cool. And it's let me show it to you actually really quick.
Yes.
So if you look here, see how it's set up just like you wouldn't even, by just quick glance, you wouldn't even know that that's not a regular Gmail. Would you? Quick glance.
No, that looks like a real email. Holy shit.
Yeah, it says Gmail, but quick glance, this is, dude, like sent folder, starred. Obviously he has like topics and stuff, but you can go to search mail and then type in UFO and it will bring up everything with UFO in it. A lot of it's junk, but Like you can get really specific, just like you would your right. And like, obviously, like he just has it set up exactly like a Gmail account. And it's genius. It's fucking genius. And there the people like this, but anything that's redacted, like you can check, look, it will show you everything just as if it would be an email. Like same format as the email. It's not how it was presented, where it's just like documents of the emails. It's fucking great.
Just type in Vito's name quick. Let's just say.
But no, like you
a huge penis picture.
You type in Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan.
No, yeah, no. There's obviously a difference between being in the files and being in the files. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of people's names are in the files. Trump's name's in it a lot, and who the hell knows what the hell's going on with that shit? But it's crazy. No, there was direct conversation about the pandemic. I'm looking for it, of course.
Gmail.world.
Just type in pandemic.
Gmail.world is the site for anyone who wanted it to use it. It's amazing. Control. How do I paste? There we go.
Search.
What should I search?
Look up links between Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates, and the WHO and the pandemic. Those are the exact words that were in there as to how do we bring the WHO into it. And we hope that it works.
Bill Gates.
Maybe use quotes too.
The WHO pandemic. No.
Nothing.
Just put Bill Gates in the WHO. I won't say the WHO.
Let me check my X account. It's got to be
quotes. Bill Gates.
But again, you have to think it's functioning like a real email. So how would you find it in your actual email?
Yeah, no, I gotta find it.
It's working by those parameters, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is from 2020 again. So I think you have to be a really good. So World Health Org redacted May 5th, 2014 at 11:59 a.m. I hope you're doing well. Would you please pass? Ah, shit.
That's polio. No, they literally talked about a pandemic or bringing
the virus is transmitted. This is about polio, but I don't know, man.
Mike disclosure number 6. Betting Gene isn't in the files. That is correct.
Here, there's a Bill Gates tab over here, so maybe that will help me find it. Pandemic in the Bill Gates tab.
Guys, he's looking quick. Just a comment, follow up on Mike Disclosure 6's comment there. No, I am not, but I can be found in the WikiLeaks. Give you something to do.
Dun dun dun.
Is a mention of me in WikiLeaks.
Well, that you like opera?
No.
I'm scrolling back through my my shares.
That was still a highly kept secret back then. That was
Of course, now that I'm looking for it, I can't fucking find it. Oh, you know what? I know where it is.
Whoa, actually, look at this.
You get it?
No, but this is different. Sorry, I've been quiet, but so this is from Boris Nikolic. I don't know who that is. And Bill Gates is on this. And it says, so it starts off by, it might be a great path forward. Oh, no. So it starts with Epstein saying, with the massive cuts in science coming, the donor advised fund should be the counterbalance. Please note. And then it goes, and that the information contained in this communication is confidential, maybe attorney, goes through that whole thing. And then Boris says back, it might be a great path forward for some key areas such as energy, pandemic, etc. This is in 2017.
Yeah. It was a couple of years before the pandemic. That was
and
probably one of
these cuts could mobilize additional donors and funds. I am not sure he has explored DAF as an approach. That's interesting.
There's talk of, again, Jeff Epstein and the UFO interests and things like that. Has anybody searched for key figures in the community by name?
I have.
You have? Anybody come up?
I'll tell you off screen.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll tell you off screen who I found.
Why damn. On screen.
Because it's not the can of worms I'm opening tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Very sure. Very, very, very sure.
If I take my shirt off, will you tell us?
Nope. I would actually not tell you more.
I'll kick you clear off the screen.
I would never tell you. But okay, back. I don't want to have too much dead air
while
here.
we're talking, I'm going to look for it. I'm sorry, but
so what?
It's so annoying. Happens every time.
What do you think that? So I'll kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. So for every single person on this planet, for richer or poor, for brown, for white, for gay, for trans, like we come into this world alone, we leave alone, right? We're standing in the middle of a field or at the top of the mountain. We're looking into the cosmos, and we don't have the information that we're not alone in the universe versus we do. I think that changes us and how we see ourselves fundamentally as a species, as a person, as a maybe not so like, I think it's easy for people to think like my life doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But
you weren't able to do that before Trump's announcement?
No,
with the knowledge that you have?
I was, but
so then how did it change you?
Because now we know there's something else out there that all the religions that kept saying we're God's creation, that we're this thing, we're the special one. Knowing that we're not maybe as special, I think that's a little bit comforting. And that's going to change my view of where humanity stands and how special the universe is. Now, I already think the cosmos is probably more populated, and given its age, civilizations have come and gone. They've risen, they've fallen, right? And that could have been those could have been civilizations that were multiplanetary, sure, right? And so they could have, but knowing that as a fact, not as a I think, but I can't prove. Mm-hmm. I think that does change your outlook as like what is humanity? What is this fucking?
What if all 9 planets?
What is this?
All planets in our solar system. What if we're just the last survivor?
Yeah. What is all this?
That's some freaky shit right there to think about. That's
right. What if that that is the interest in us, is that we are the last survivor in this galaxy. And the pattern is, galaxies, all the planets are inhabited at some point all together, and then each planet starts dying off one by one.
That's
what if that's how's your view from Mount Everest then?
That's bleak. But then again, it's like red pill, blue pill.
Listen,
right?
Again, this.
Would you rather know the truth, or are you okay with the fake steak that tastes real? I mean, the simulation.
No, printed steak and kiss my ass.
It doesn't make any difference.
Oh man. What do you mean it doesn't make any difference?
But that's what I'm saying. This is where it becomes personal, right? To everybody, every individual.
But that's what I said. So, it's gonna be it impacts every single person, but differently. Like it does.
Yeah.
But it's one topic. Like that.
But
the NFL.
Of, I have a very compared to a lot of people. Like I do not fear death. Right.
I would love to be able to feel that, but I can't.
I don't worry about it.
I fear it
in the way right there you go, right across the table from me, somebody who like, I don't understand fearing it. And I tell, like, my, in our family, my daughter is my medical proxy. Right now, she was a home health nurse's assistant for a while and all the rest of it. And even when Natalia and I got married, and they came up at the doctors, we see your daughter is your proxy. Do you want to change that to your wife? I'm like, no. So because nobody's going to pull the plug faster than my daughter.
Oh my God. You're such a savage.
My wishes. And I tell Nat all the, and now
you're such a savage.
Like, no, I don't want. But I tell her, I'm like, if you come in the room and find me on the floor, leave and come back in an hour just in case.
What the fuck?
What the fuck's wrong with you, dude?
Actually, but by the way,
oh shit.
When it's my time, it's my time. Don't artificially keep me around.
No, fuck that. Keep me. I want to live forever. Fuck.
That's what I mean. I want to. I love every breath of.
Bring me out in a jar. Just bring me out in a jar. I'm good.
I wouldn't. And again, I wouldn't. By choice, but I don't. But to me, whatever is next is part of whatever this whole experience is. So why would I prolong it? Why would I prolong whatever is next any longer or artificially? For what purpose?
Because
it's the fear of the unknown of what's next.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but are you saying that you know what comes next?
Right. So if you knew there were 72, no, I don't. And that prospect fascinates me and excites. I think that's
fucking hey, man.
That's incredible.
That's crazy. That is incredible.
That it's like I don't know, and do I just wake up and I'm a trash panda, and, or do I go to this, beautiful place in the clouds, and everybody I ever loved in my life is there, and or do I, find myself, suddenly in a round ship hovering over the earth, looking down. I have no idea.
But you think like people that have NDEs, they stop fearing death. They for a little while they're resentful that they got brought back.
Yeah.
Right. Why do you think that is?
I mean,
I'm asking that rhetorically, but
there was. I don't know if I had a near-death experience, but there was one night I remember it very vividly. So I'll call it a dream for simplicity's sake, but I was underwater, right? And I was fearful for a second because I'm like, oh my God, I'm underwater. And I took a breath and I felt, something in my lungs, and then I just kept breathing. And then I remember having the thought, and I'm like floating, right? In the suspended in the water,
yeah,
or this fluid. And I remember thinking explicitly, oh, I'm dead. And
you're on the other side.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I just have to kind of go with this now.
Right.
And I slightly remember like the white light. And then I woke up. And as you know, I have a lot of medical issues and injuries, and
yeah, but you've been
war injuries, and
you've been popping around lately,
right? And
Vito, he's not the same. He's mobile as fuck lately.
But
that's got to be because of the
stop.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah. The day, but when I woke up, that 24 hours afterwards, I didn't have any pain. It was like the best I ever remember feeling.
That's wild.
Just that 20. Then I woke up the next morning again, and like all the pains were back there again. And it's like, was that some sort of transition? Was it, did my timeline shift? Did it, I don't know.
I have a video coming out about that.
But there was a physical difference the next day.
I have a video coming out about this. I'm doing this new show. Well, I guess because now but we're doing this new show called The Briefing. And I had written a bunch of scripts for this other, it was supposed to be gimmicked. It's like a gimmicky, not, and I say that like not gimmick, but like
Not
just
camp,
like,
but
yeah, like the Y-Files has the,
basement now.
well, no, the campfire thing
Okay. Yeah.
that I was originally going to do. But I had to rewrite everything. But I have 4 written, 5 written, and I did 1. I did the Lazar one as episode 1. But number 2 and number 3 is about this idea that, remember in 2012, they said, remember that
Right.
the world is supposed to end?
And the world has ended, and we're just.
And we shifted to another timeline collectively,
Right.
all at once. And that is what, because simulation theory is, while it's not new, it is. And deja vu and this idea of the Mandela effect is specifically very new.
So this is from my father-in-law's work. This is one of the things at one point I was diving into time and how does he explain time? And he, and again, the short version, time is not linear, it is cyclic, and it's almost like waves that we are riding the top of the wave, but under us there are these currents that circle back and forth and all the rest of it, and all things happen at once. And as I was going through that, whatever it was that got me started thinking about Mandela effect and deja vu, and the idea of glitches in the matrix and simulation theory and all the rest of it. And I started working on something called synchronization shock. And that is actually what Mandela effect and deja vu are, is that because of the advancements and promulgation of our technology, where we now have references to everything, at our fingertips, our consciousness and how our consciousness experiences time can shift, but it is not synchronized with what our technology holds. And my father-in-law in the papers talks about an information energy field where all information is available and accessible, and part of our development eventually we'll be able to get there. And it just raised the question in my mind, well, then I wonder, when it came to like AI, even if information exists in this information energy field, we are limited by our consciousness to the access to this information energy field. And then that is how we stay in line. But it is it's actually because of the technology that we're now experiencing like Mandela effect, because the technology and the neural networks that are developed in it do not have the guardrail of consciousness. And so they are pulling, it is also pulling because, quantum entanglement, all the rest of it. These neural networks are pulling from the information energy field. And so when like AI hallucinates, it's not hallucinating. It just pulled the wrong timeline information.
Okay. So
there's no doubt in my mind that Mandela effect's real. And there's no doubt in my mind we were supposed to watch Trump get murdered that day. I think you're right. I think the time shifted to something different. Also, Ty, check the chat on StreamYard. I posted a bunch of things there.
Know what I also wondered? Because the when they talk about, again, like, I mean, we can use veto, for example, right? Where you just meet people and you click.
Yeah, it just happened, dude. That's
Whether
it's
it's
like
your
we've known
spouse
each other for years.
and this and that, right? And again, part of all of this is resonance and being on the same frequency. And then we say things where, you meet somebody or you hear somebody say something, you're like, what world are they living in? And I wondered, I'm like, can there be a scenario where we are all actually physically present, but we are not experiencing the same timeline? There people
That's fucking wild.
could there be people out there who
That's
actually
busting brain.
that, like, when we're driving down the highway, could the guy in the car next to us potentially
Be living in his own reality,
be
but
living
shared.
in the timeline where Hillary Clinton won the presidency, where Trump was assassinated, where JFK wasn't assassinated? And because of resonance,
I'm
consciousness,
fucking
and frequency,
I'm fucking high enough
our
for this.
paths never cross.
That's fucking wild.
My
So,
wife
like,
is big
you're
on this,
driving
and,
down the highway with the same motherfucker that lives in a reality where Trump was assassinated,
But our paths never cross.
but we never
because
cross, right?
resonance and frequency keeps us from.
But then the
Interfacing.
people we interact with,
But the people we interact with, we interact because our frequencies are attuned. We walk into a store when a certain clerk is there, not because we know them or we're in there every day, but because our resonance, our frequencies and resonance are aligned, that allow us to interact in that way in that day.
yeah, you see it, but like fate, I'm okay with that.
And is that fate?
Yeah, and destiny and stuff like that. It's like, if free will is not a thing, I think, again, and this does route back to this UFO disclosure, right? Because I think most people, correct me if I'm wrong, most people associate UFOs, yes, with the little green man, but also like kind of like the figuring out the keys to the universe, right? Once that happens, it's like a whole new world, right? And in that whole new world, do we find out something like that where destiny, like they know more about God, what really is God, and they're able to enlighten us a little bit. And there's secrets that certain people have kept because maybe those are the things that are too heavy, maybe those are the things. And should those stay secret? Like, if they are, if a non-human intelligence is responsible for the creation of human beings modern day, but we're talking about multiple phenomena, is it okay to let the bag out on one but not the other? And who decides? Right? Because
who decides?
It's all encompassing. It's just kind of like, you just
deciding. They've already decided.
But are you okay with that? Like, are we ready to know our creator, like our literal creator? That's a very theological question. That's a deep philosophical one as well. It's like, are you ready to literally meet your maker?
Listen, does it mean, and so if we can answer that, do I not have to go to Wegmans and pick up groceries tomorrow?
You do, and that's a cop-out.
It's not a cop-out. I mean, it is reality.
But it's also a cop-out.
So if they say God is not the bearded old man sitting on a throne in heaven, he is a alien scientist who existed 2.5 million years ago. He was the chief scientist on the first mission to this, and that's literally, his name was God. And that's a common name like John is to all of you there on Earth. And
thank you, the Vern dude.
He did all sorts
Appreciate
of
it.
DNA, switching and melding and mending and blah, blah, blah. And now you're here.
But we have his great grand alien.
Nailed to a cross around all of our necks. It's fucking morbid.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
fucking morbid.
Like, can you all stop doing that?
Yeah, like, can you stop killing the ones that we hybridized?
Can you stop hammering my kid on a metal cross on your neck? Like, what the hell, dude? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
but I think it does change. And of course, you still have to go get groceries. Of course, you still have to go pay your bills. But also, you sit down at, there are families that sit down at the dinner table. Hold on. It's just good radio. I'm sorry.
no,
I'm not really being aggressive.
I'm just,
But
because I'm just, I'm only thinking because then, I'm the wrong person to ask. The question is to you. So if you have that, do you then not fear death?
see, that's a better question.
I don't fear death. I just want to live forever. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
I don't want to live forever. That's crazy.
I do. I'm like, I just want to see everything. Like, I know it'll be lonely at some point because you lose everyone you love, but
you're not going to see everything.
I mean, if I'm living forever,
he wants to
oh,
see
talking about when you die. Talking about when you die.
earthly plane.
Yeah, I want to see what the hell's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I'm like,
he
oh,
wants
this
to
is
see
great.
everything on the earthly plane. He wants to see history, human history specifically play out.
Right, but
Bingo.
You close your eyes, you die, and then you open them, and boom, you're.
But I don't
you're
think
a squirrel, or you're just another incarnation of the Vito.
But that again, that would
It's pretty amazing. If you're another
no,
another
but,
me, it's pretty amazing.
But that would imply that the Earth is the center of the spiritual universe, and I do not think that is the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Why would reincarnate as a squirrel on Earth, right? Why not a squirrel on Zeta Reticuli?
Why not?
Right. So he wants to stay on Earth specifically.
Maybe he has that choice.
Yeah, but
I just want to see. I mean, like, okay, so for instance, let's just say, especially now that disclosure is allegedly right here, I want to see what the hell the future takes us. Where do we go from here? What happens? Does humanity go better, or does it get worse? Does it go worse then get better? Like that. That's why I want to see this shit.
That,
you know what I mean?
That's commendable in a way that you want to see this thing out. You want to see this thing through.
Yeah, I want to see what happens.
I want to journey through the stars, and I want to, like,
for sure.
I want to do that.
And so if boom, your wish is granted, then you will equally be happy that at the end of the disclosure journey, it's proven it really was just ultimately a cover story for advanced U.S. weapon systems, which leads to nuclear holocaust around the world, and you have to go live underground for the next 30 to 70
God,
years.
you're so bleak.
I'm just saying, you're just good with all that in your live forever scenario.
You talking about no, I want the Earth to do well. Obviously, I don't want fucking nuclear apocalypse. I don't want, you know what I mean? I know I don't have a choice, but yeah,
dude, what if though? What if all of this leads to some sort of like biblical end of time scenario? And like our guys like Chris Bledsoe, think about this. We all mock him, right? I don't mock him.
If you guys could only be privy to some of the conversations I've had with people, you're going in the right direction.
Bro, don't give me that bullshit.
You're going in the right direction.
If you were privy to some of the conversations I've had.
If you were all privy to some of the conversations I've had.
Yeah. Don't go there with me. No, I'm just kidding. But I get what you're saying. So this light went off and it really fucked with my
threw everything off. It's like goddamn light broke everything.
Yeah.
The timeline switch.
The timeline just swapped. But oh God, what was I saying?
Bledsoe.
Oh, Bledsoe. Yeah. We all give him, we rib it. We not like a frog, but we rib it like, oh, he's making predictions. Bro. It's kind of looking like whether it's luck or is there any truth to what he's saying? Like that I mean, here we are on the verge of spring 2026, exactly when he said that this knowledge would come to humanity. And we're literally staring down the barrel of it.
But wasn't he switching, shifting that timeline?
Yeah,
he keeps
a little
changing
bit,
stuff.
right?
But
So
but
this is
but
my issue with predictions, right? Because I do predictions. I made an entire career out of doing predictions.
Can you
yeah, but
predict
that
the
was
Powerball number for me?
analytically predicting, right?
It's
Looking at things and analytically predicting it based on past
Are you
based on
clairvoyant, Gene?
based on signals.
based
Yes.
on
He's
signals.
saying that someone told him this.
What I'm saying, all I'm saying
Yeah.
is that there is a certain skill set of being able to absorb information and analyze. So, like, to me, I had a natural inclination and I was taught specific skills around observing, processing signals, and making determinations. The parts I was trained on were the speed of it, because I
Right.
needed to do it quick in order, to not be killed in a, in situations.
Right.
So there, as we all have the natural innate ability to do that, right?
Mm.
So again, I never say people don't believe what they believe. Perhaps that's how he's processed it, or it has come to him. I don't find it as miraculous as
The
others
next
do. I don't find the ability to discern, to discern events necessarily miraculous.
But okay, Vito, do you have any thoughts?
I think that there are people that are clairvoyant. I had a touch of it as a kid. Like I used to be able to just know when things are happening. I can't predict shit, but like I can feel when stuff is coming. Now, does that make me clairvoyant? I don't know, but I know it's something that I've had as a child, since I was a child. Like when I was 8 and I foresaw one of the janitors getting burned by steam in the basement, and it happened
No
5 minutes
way.
after. Swear to God, if my mother was in the chat, she'd vouch for me. It happened like about between 5 and 20 minutes after that. The janitor got burned by steam, and the teacher took me to the side and was like, "How did you know?" Because I flipped out because I saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was a kid. I was 8, so I've shut myself off to a lot of that stuff growing up, especially with the ghosts, being able to see things that others can't and experience and feel it. Like it freaks me out. So yeah, it's possible that people are clairvoyant and can see things for sure. I mean, our brains, we only use 20 to 15% of our brain capacity. If we used 70, it would be insane the things that we could do.
I think, in similar, I kind of experienced the thing where I knew I was in a car and I knew I was going to get into an accident. And like within minutes, I got rear-ended.
Oh,
I knew it was, I dropped somebody off and I was just like,
it's like you see it
close. I'm going to get in an accident. But they're like, no. And then just somebody ran me from behind suddenly, 10 minutes later.
That stuff's
So again, there's just things that, mediumship, listen, and I've met mediums. I had some great discussions. Again, there was an opera called The Medium. When we did that, we hired a medium, and like I got such a great understanding of mediumship and all, everything with that. And, I believe all of it 100%. Right. But then there again, I can't even say it's skepticism. It's just based on my experiences, right, in seeing a lot of this, how these things play out, there are signals from certain people who claim these things and claim these skills and abilities that are consistent with not being 100% legitimate.
Yeah.
You know,
especially this area.
I talk about it with the transgender issue, right? There was a church I went to in Houston. That was, you know, it was close. It was primarily a gay church. And there was a transgender woman in there, and got to know her, heard the story, used to be military, used to be a cop, became a sex worker, had friends who were murdered and thrown into dumpsters and all the rest of it. And I'm telling you, there was such a period of time, like I could not, and she would talk about, standing in the mirror and looking at herself as a, little boy and not understanding what was going on with her body and this and that. And like just that phrase alone, when I would talk to people about it, like I would actually get choked up. I had such empathy, for the sincerity of this person.
Yeah.
Right. And so when now over the last few years, it's become so prominent, and I hear other people discussing their journeys, something does not resonate in the same way from the previous experience I had with somebody who was transgendered that makes me think this person now telling me the story is really just seeking attention. They're really just trying to fit in. There's actually something else going on. There's there's like 100 other things I can come up with other than this person is legitimately transgender. Whereas, those other experience, and this certainly wasn't the first or the only one, but it was, again, at a time and within a context, much different than today. And when I compared the two of them, I'm like, I'm not convinced. So very similarly, I've had these experiences with people where I have felt and acknowledge and feel the authenticity, and then, have seen the other ones where it's not.
Yeah, and I think that goes with like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've sat in the room with people that they tell me a story about, oh, here's a good segue. Stories about like the secret space program.
Yeah.
And I'm like not convinced. I just am not convinced. But then you get someone like Salas, right? Or others, like other people I've interviewed, where you're just like, I believe this fucking guy. Like this is sincerity. So that's another weird angle on this. Do you guys think that that there is possibility to this whole idea of a secret space program? Maybe not like the way it's, I think some of like the Corey Good stuff and all that bullshit, like that was like disinformation.
Yeah,
but
you know what I think? I think things get convoluted is what happens, right? I think people do not have people have good intentions, but they do not have the full story.
Yeah.
And they do not have a full appreciation for all the intricacies and inner dynamics of things that happen. And again, and I have utmost respect for the guy. I think there may be elements of that in the Dylan Borland, scenario. That again, he was getting information and had access to information, but perhaps not the entire story. And so there's, again, there's perceptions that might have happened, and there were, on both sides, right? It's like any
Interesting.
I mean, and listen, it even happens in interpersonal relationships.
I think
right?
it
You get
happens all
memes
the
about it
time.
all the time. You get that meme of a man and woman laying in
did.
bed, and the woman's looking at him saying, "Oh, he must be
I don't wanna
thinking
go
about
back
other
there right now.
girls." And and then the bubble, over the guy's head is, "Oh, I wonder, if a dragon could fight a shark." You know, you don't know what's going on with things. And that's why things happens in this. We get some of these key figures, and again, particularly people who need content to put out, get drips and drabs from people who have their own motives for wanting to drip and drab. They themselves have piecemealed together information, and they're trying to make things fit, and they're trying to do some analysis. They're trying to maintain an air of mystery and entertainment and all the rest of it. And so the the end result is that things get convoluted, and I'll say it a lot of times, in relation to my father-in-law's work, because it covers so much material, and I hear these things being said, and I look at the science, and I'm like, this is okay. His explanation's pretty solid on this. And it's like, you're right, but you're right for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Your reasoning and rationale is incorrect. So if we remember, I don't know if they did it in your day school or your time, your day, Ty, in
Yes.
school, where, prove your answer, right? In math,
Show your work is what
show
it
your
was for
work.
us. Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing now. Nobody has to show their work anymore.
Right.
You just come to a conclusion because you come to a conclusion.
As long as it's the right one.
And right, then it doesn't matter how it got there, how you got there. But it actually does matter how you got there.
Absolutely
in a lot
does.
of cases, and
Yeah.
particularly
Especially
real
in
life.
math, technically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Order of operations. But yeah. The side note, do you see how they teach math now?
No.
It's fucking crazy. It's like
No.
it's like undecipherable.
I got four kids. I nope. I just
The way
go
they
to
teach
your
math
brother.
now is like, it's like upside down. They do it weirdly. But Vito, what are you religious at all? Like, are you
No.
know?
I believe in the need for religion. I think it keeps people moral. It keeps society where it needs to be. It's just not for me. I don't know. I've had too many weird things happen where it's just like this world's too screwed up for there to be an actual God that's watching over every single person. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe, to be honest with you. I see the need for it. It just, I don't get it.
What do you define as being religious? Like the belief, or? So for me, I love the tradition. I love the tradition. I love the structure. I love the ceremony. I love the idea I can walk into any Catholic church anywhere in the world, not speak the language, but understand what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, and again, I've done it many times in my life. I've, had my conversations with God. I go directly to the man himself. I don't necessarily think I need intermediaries in a lot of ways.
But for me, that also means you don't need the church. I mean, in the Bible, it even talks about how the church is you.
Yep.
Right.
You bring the church.
Right. But I like the structure.
Yeah.
The ceremony of.
Yeah, of course.
The repetitiveness. There's a comfort and a familiarity.
It gets you in the mindset to speak to God.
Because humans are used to routine. That's part of it also.
Yeah.
It gets you in that mental space to like be on a caliber that you're willing to entertain God.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to do that like after you jacked off and like Like,
Right,
right?
exactly.
You washed your
right.
hands, and now
Jesus,
now
Jesus
you're like,
is watching, Ty. Jesus is watching.
you're like, God, if only I could, you know what I mean? That's not
Right.
the time and place.
Exactly. But you know, it's you know, and again, I went to Catholic school my whole life, right? And
Do you want to talk about it?
oh, listen, there was actually a time I considered becoming a priest.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I was so, you know, for all of the fault of the Catholic Church, I will tell you, and I was in Boy Scouts.
Oh, Jesus. Do you want to talk about it?
I went to an all
Canteen boy?
boys private Catholic high school here in the Boston area.
Oh, my God. You're lucky you didn't end up on Epstein Island.
But let
Maybe
me
he
tell
did.
you something. In all sincerity, every priest that I knew was just such a
Stand-up guy.
wonderful person.
Yeah. That's sadly the case most of the time, right?
It is. You know, I mean, there's what when we returned to Boston, like I
This is the
sought out-
home of the
my old high school
scandal.
chaplain. You know, I was an altar boy. You know, and you know, he had died, and he was friends with the chaplain I had in Boy Scouts who had retired. And I actually found him, and I, you know, just gave him a phone call and was just like, you know, I just wanted to say hello. I don't even know if you remember me, but you were just such a wonderful influence in my life. And, you know, I know you're retired now, and I just wanted to say thank you, kind of thing. And yeah, and at that time, these were just such wonderful men, and I was just so drawn to it. That yeah, I was like, I think I want to do this, you know. Obviously I didn't. I went in a very different direction.
Yeah.
But you know, again, through, you know, the career and the crazy stuff that I did, and those numbers of times that I had my conversations with God, when I came back here, I got involved in my old high school again. And it was one of the craziest things was like my old English teacher was still there. My old math teacher, one of the brothers was still around. And I thought about it one night, and then I had to do like a speech. They had like a after school group, and they used to invite in speakers, and they invited me in, and I talked about this and you know, my life and my experience, and bringing it back to the school, you know. And I thought about, you know, 30 years later, I showed up and these teachers are still there. And I thought about my own life, and I thought about the, you know, the days I used to, you know, I had my office in The Hague in the Netherlands, and I used to fly to London on Fridays. So I would have meetings there, have my fish and chips and mushy peas. I would, you know, want to be ready to go to the pub with the fellas, you know, afterwards. That was kind of my routine. And I'd be walking over the bridge from Canary Wharf to Shell Center over the Thames, and Big Ben's right there. And I'd think to myself, wow, you know, what am I doing here? And what a miraculous life, and you know, fantastic and crazy things that I'm doing, and all the rest of it. And when I got back to that school and I saw those teachers that have been there 30 plus, 40 plus years, some of them, right? And something struck me where I'm like, you know what? This is what it really means when you're doing God's work.
Right.
Because these people have been here for 40 years since 30 years since I've left. And they prepared me and sent me out in the world. How many other kids have they done that for? And it just struck, and I'm like,
I think there's always that.
That is the hand of God. That is the face of God to me in that, you know, in that moment, in that context, that, you know, at work of preparing and forming people to go out and do great miraculous things in life, and all the rest. And I'm like, maybe that's what it's all about.
I think so. I think it is it's about what you go and put out there. I think it's about what you go and you do and you put into the world. Again, if this idea of we affect the matter around us.
Yeah.
If you go put good into the world, you'll get good back, but you'll also leave the place better than you found it. I think that really, and that gets me back to religion. I think like what Vito said earlier about not really being religious but he understands why there needs to be religion. And I think he's equating that to the fact that it's a good way to live your life, right?
Mhm.
Don't
Moral,
steal,
moral and just. Yeah, don't kill,
don't
don't rape.
murder,
Yeah.
don't generally be a
And
good person.
and somebody's watching, even if you think about doing it.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you're gonna be
There's
in
a
trouble.
punishment for the crime of
Right.
being
There's
a bad person. There's consequences that, it put that expression, put the fear of God into them.
Right.
Right.
And I have been getting more spiritual, not so much religious, but I've been getting more, I guess, spiritual, more in tune with that side of it, more of like the karma realm. You know what I mean? Like if I do this, that's going to happen. That's kind of how I just try to do the right thing always. You know.
But there's another again, not now I'll switch to Broadway theater, right? There's a great at the end of Les Miserables, it's one of the final lines, and they just say to love another person is to see the face of God.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. I think love is the only thing that truly transcends space-time, because
that's the thing that makes us most human.
Is
that where our value is in the universe?
But I think that's why we are maybe a commodity soul, like what we call the soul. Vito, what do you think consciousness is? Do you think it arises from the brain, or do you think the brain produces consciousness?
I think consciousness is so this is the part that I've been tackling or dealing or trying to get in tune with for the most, because that was the part that fucked me up the most with this whole consciousness thing. So I think consciousness ties into like everything. Like you can have people that can astral project, which is an interview I just had with someone the other day. You have people can
You're talking to someone who can astrally project.
Yeah, one of the guys we
Really?
met at the DC thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The whole what is it? The remote viewing.
Where's Logan?
I don't know. I hit him up. He didn't reply back. I hit up Joe too. Joe was out with his wife. The remote viewing thing, people can remote view. That's all connected to it. I think consciousness is everything. I think consciousness also ties into how these beings see us as containers and things like that. I think it all ties into everything.
Well, do you know the story of Bob Lazar? Like, do you know how in the files that he was given, like some of the briefings talked about us being soul containers?
Yes, containers of souls, or containers. So that's the part that always freaks me. That's what makes me think that the aliens are a bit nefarious, that they're up to no good with certain things. Like why would that be a thing, you know?
Yeah. And with that being said, what do you think the soul is eternal?
Yes, because we are energy, right? And energy is forever, right? Aren't we supposed to be basically beings of energy for the most part?
Yeah, I would think. I don't know. I don't see a world. I mean, I don't see what else it could be.
And then based off of the experiences I've had,
energy. I mean,
have you witnessed ghosts at all or anything like that, or
no? Only once. Honestly, I'll tell you a story. Wait, that's you.
Wrong person.
Yeah. Well, I'm controlling it. Gene's supposed to control it now. This is what
Damn
I
it,
pay him.
Gene.
This is what I pay him for, and he's not even fucking doing it.
Pays me in pretzels I can't eat on air.
Yeah, because they're the crunchiest fucking. It's like getting Doritos.
Crunchy things comfort me.
Yeah, well, they don't crunch it. They do not. They do not satisfy audio only listeners. It's certainly they're thanking me right now.
Here, I can fix that for you.
They're saying, don't.
No, just type in ASMR in the beginning and then it'll blow up.
But damn, this angle does look good. even on StreamYard. I don't know if it's outputting at the same quality, but this looks really great tonight. Everyone's angles look really great. This is like this is very clean desk tonight too, and it's just making me very happy. And I'm willing to just for anyone who doesn't know, well, yeah, just this weekend I get the house to myself, and
Nice.
Gene's got the house to himself, and we can go on like I don't have a limit that I'm thinking like, shit, we gotta cut. I gotta go do this. So it's really allowed me. I really like this style. Every time I do it, I realize how much I like it. I'll tell you a story though. So I used to live in this really, really nice house in Somerville.
Where I
And
grew up.
yes. And Somerville, for anyone who doesn't know, like if you've heard of the Winter Hill Gang or like Whitey Bulger, the Teamsters and that whole thing, that was Winter Hill. That's Somerville. That's where I lived, Winter Hill. So specifically. And I lived in this nice house, and that's actually in my earliest YouTube videos. You can see me doing shows. That's where I started doing shows from this really nice, like I had one room downstairs that was dedicated studio, but right outside where the studio was, there was a bathroom, a private bathroom. And I was in that private bathroom and I was washing my face and I could swear someone was behind me. I felt someone behind me and I'm flicking water in my face. It sounds like a movie, but and then I come up and I'm looking at the those tri mirrors where it opens 3 times, and you, so it's and medicine cabinet, like mirror. And I come up from splashing water in my face and it was healthy 80 degrees in that, because the heat would pump downstairs for some reason. So it was always extraordinarily hot. And I come up from splashing water in my face. I have this feeling already that someone's behind me. And then I blow and I can see my breath. And it fogs the mirror. And I look behind me, nobody.
Yeah, there was something there. 100%.
I don't know if I fucking, my left brain was like, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
I had quite a few experiences. So this, people always say, they're like, oh, were you into the UFO subject before it landed in your lap? No, not at all. Ghost hunting show, all that was my thing.
Really?
And I've had throughout my life. So I grew up in Winter Hill, right? I remember the Winter Hill Gang when they were active. I knew a lot of those figures, my parents knew them, were very close. Write about it in my other book, Unconventional, that I put out. That's, about sort of that and the oil, gas, and intelligence world. So 1976, I was like 4 years old, and we moved to a 200-year-old home in North Reading.
Wow.
And so we had left right before the blizzard of 76. We left Somerville. We went to North Reading. We moved back into the same apartment that we had left within 6 months. This house was so haunted. And I mean, from like we when we got out there, like we had got a puppy, and the puppy used to, just suddenly start barking and walking backwards.
Yeah.
My sister would have my oldest sister would have nightmares about walking down the steps, and there'd be a man an old man in a pool of blood at the bottom of the steps.
Yeah.
My mother would have one about like a colonial era family being at our table, and the mother getting up and telling her that we had to leave. I remember there was a night in the middle of the night, like all of the electrical, stuff in the kitchen turned on.
Whoa. So you guys are always having recurring dreams?
So that was my mother and my sister.
But you're all having some sort of recurring dream.
They were.
They
the
were.
only dream I ever, well, no, I'm sorry. It was a recurring dream I would have about a woman coming out from under my bed and chasing me.
Oh, that's the worst one to have. That's by far the worst one in my opinion.
We had like the thing with the, stuff turning on in the middle of the night. I had, that was the other one. There was this was the one at the end, the thing with the what the hell? I'm sure it'll come to me. But I had so again, we moved there before the blizzard of 76. And we
mythical here.
Gone within 6 months, right? So years later, I'm telling my sister, see, now I remember one night I was in bed. My godparents were over and they were downstairs with my parents. And there was knocking coming from the attic, like legitimate knocking. And I ran downstairs. And of course, his parents, I figured now they were probably all, 3 shades to the wind. Because they're like, well, did you say hello? And I'm like, you motherfuckers go up there and say hello. I'm not saying hello to shit, And and my father went up into that attic one time and never went up there again. It was like, don't anybody, no, don't ever go up there, da. And he was like legit scared. And it was one of those things like later in life, I'd never thought of again to ask him about.
Right.
But there were 2 things that happened in the spring. Like he got poison ivy so bad it was like in his bloodstream, and he had to get, insulin injections or some shit. His legs were all swollen; he could hardly walk. Now that it might be bad luck. But then we had an in-ground pool, and I was sitting on the pool with my, so my knees bent, legs in the water, and I got pushed in the pool. My parents watched, something pushed me in. It wasn't like I bent over. It was, I slid right off and into the water. And that's when we moved. And years later, again, I was kind of telling a girlfriend the story or whatever. And I was recalling my neighbor, and it was these 2 old women. And I said, yeah, they had a grandson. One of them had a grandson or a nephew or somebody. There was a little kid that used to come play with me. I said, and his name was Ann. But, again, I'm like 4 years old at the time. So I'm like, I can't remember, was Ann a boy or a girl? If I could draw, to this day, I could draw you a picture of what Ann looked like, right? And I remember being in the fire truck, that little red metal fire truck thing, and I remember being in there. I remember Ann being like in my bedroom, and we would be playing and stuff. So I decided, I was like, do you know, was that like Gertrude and Hess's, grandkid, one of their grandkids, or a nephew or something like that? And my sister's like, you did not have any friends who came to the house. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I played with this kid. And they were like,
and she's like, nope,
they're
that
like,
kid
no,
didn't exist.
They're like, we lived there 6 months. You didn't. And half of it was a blizzard. But like I said, I remember. Now, I never remember Ann coming over. I never remember Ann going home or anybody picking. I remember Ann coming out of the woods. And she's like, why do you think it was, these old ladies? I said, because when he'd come over, he'd come from where their house was, but there was a wood line there. It's not there anymore.
Oh, that's
the
creepy.
house is still there. I said, so I just figured he's coming from their direction. He must be with them. And that's
creepy.
They're like, nope,
Well, so what do you think's gonna come next? What do you think? What do you guys think's gonna come next as we start wrapping up?
I hope we get disclosure in some way, shape, or form. I hope that the whistleblowers can finally tell us all that they know and can finally stop saying I can't talk about this. Like that's what I want. I want to hear the full story. I just want to hear the truth. I'm tired of the bullshit and the lies and the just nonsense. Just tell us what's going on.
Do you think that? I mean, do you guys see any massive changes, like, whether it be arrests from the Epstein, like something to prove to the public, because they're gonna have to make an example out of someone.
Prince Andrew.
Yeah,
but it has to come from here. Like England
I
arresting
agree.
him is great, but what are they going to do about it for one? And two, what the hell are we? They've had this information for years.
His brother
They've gone
already
over it for years.
denounced him. Like they
Right.
already
Like,
went through the show.
like, let's go. Let's get this shit. I want heads rolling is what I want from the Epstein stuff.
Well, hold on.
Leave
Who
kids
should
alone.
roll? Who should roll?
Right.
If you were involved in harming kids in any way, shape, or form, if you were involved in covering it up, you got to go.
So this is the thing. And again, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but this is what, one of the FBI agents, when they released these, said. He said, if there is somebody who has come forward or wants to come forward with a specific allegation against a specific person, we will investigate that. He said, we have not, they have not arrested anybody,
right?
Because they haven't, and we forget.
Are you buying that Cash Patel bullshit?
Listen, I'm just saying, we forget there have been people arrested. Jeffrey Epstein and Giselle Maxwell have been arrested.
Who did they traffic to? Themselves?
Right.
Listen,
that doesn't make sense.
I understand, but again, just because they've been arrested, it doesn't mean they were going to give anybody up. If the government hasn't found, that information, what do I believe it or not? I'm sure. I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing, but we also can't say nobody's been arrested.
Yeah,
the ringleaders of it.
No,
were
but what I'm saying is, okay, so
did you see Israel?
Epstein got arrested, and what happened to him? He's hanging out in Israel allegedly, or he's dead. One of the two, or that's not him. Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested. She's either allegedly in jail. I don't know. The person that they're showing us her doesn't look like her. They just showed some pictures.
You saw that picture?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, or the lady on the street that they just had that she looked like it was Ghislaine Maxwell and her brother standing on the street in Canada. Like, so I want people who fuck kids and hurt kids to go.
Okay,
Whatever is proven, but also you're asking
what you say. It's YouTube.
You're allegedly, but you're asking about the references.
Saying from kids is
I'm
crazy.
Sorry, you're right. Yes, sorry. Harming kids in a way that they're not supposed to. It's not okay. So anyone who's involved in it needs to go. Period. Now, as far as the FBI thing, well, let me
just pause for a second, because
how can you trust the FBI?
No,
how can they?
But here's the thing. You just got through saying whoever did this needs to go to jail. The people who have already gone to jail, you're not happy about and don't believe they're actually in jail. So
I'm happy they're in jail.
Who is it that they can arrest that you will believe is actually in jail and is not being hidden in Israel or hidden somewhere else or walking undercover in New York? So if they were to arrest somebody of the stature of Bill Gates, and you would be,
that's a start.
100%, and somebody of that stature would put in jail, then you believe you would be assured that he is not walking around Israel or got a plastic surgery and is walking around Miami Beach.
Okay, well, see, that's where the difference is. You're saying jail. I never said jail. I want them at the gallows, live on TV. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
I mean,
unfortunately.
Sorry, but Let's make pedophiles afraid again. Like, it's not okay what they're doing. And as far as the FBI goes, you just had 10 years of the FBI having this information. They've done jack fuck all with it. So I wouldn't come forward either if I were these witnesses. I'd be scared shitless. I came forward 10 years ago, and now you got Virginia Guffrey allegedly threw herself off a building.
Yeah, what is
bullshit?
Dude, what the fuck is going on right now?
Bullshit. Like, dude, come on. No one is stupid.
Wait a
It's the
second.
worst
Wait a
movie I've
second.
ever
Wait a
seen.
second. Wait a second. Yeah, we can't stop now. I forgot. What is going on with this kidnapping?
Yeah, the lady's mother's missing. Like, come on, dude.
And it all connects back
It's
because
all connected.
she's the one who gave
Who's breaking the
who's
story?
breaking the story with the witnesses at the time.
Right.
And now her mother's
So how would you
aunt?
come forward as a witness? Would you? I keep my mouth shut. Like, you can't come forwards. You don't.
Well,
know
they're
who to
clearly
trust.
sending
That's
a
the problem.
message.
That's
the
again,
problem.
That's the right. Exactly. It's the fundamental problem with the whole thing that the people that do get arrested, the public doesn't want to believe that they're actually in jail or have been punished for it. And then the only other extreme is public executions, which, we can't do as a civilized society. Let's just
but you know what? Doing what they
let's
did to children wasn't civilized either, brother. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep cutting you off.
I know, but again, then you're talking about you're getting into a situation where then it's just anarchy and where,
But that's not, to me, that's not anarchy. To me, that's cleaning up the problem. You have a large problem where the elites of the world are doing horrible things and getting away with it. And quite frankly, I'm personally tired of it.
And then once we've cleaned, and again, this becomes the rabbit trail, right? And then once we've cleaned up that horrible problem by executing everybody, what is the next horrible problem you would love cleaned up by executing everybody?
Yeah,
and
you can't.
everybody,
you can't.
That's apples and oranges. You can't take what
You
they're doing.
You can capital punishment federal, right?
Right.
So you could send them to the chair.
Right.
You can send them to.
I want I don't want any money,
is
any
that
taxpayer
deserving of a life sentence, of a end your life sentence?
Right.
Because is now
to do that to children, yes.
Well, hear me out though. Has it been
be a
done
level of
before?
Satisfaction where after we do it, nobody's like, no, they only knocked them out. Now they're living comfortably in Miami Beach. I mean, it's like,
I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to pay for their comfort.
Has capital punishment ever been used outside of a murder case?
I'm not sure.
Yes, espionage.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Anything other than that? Espionage is a little drastic. Like any
I
other
think
case outside murder cases, capital punishment. Jamie, bring it up. No, I'm just kidding. Jamie, we don't have Jamie yet.
Not yet.
But
wouldn't this warrant it? Like what they've been doing? I mean, like I said, I've been delving into these emails a lot
again. I think
seeing the lunacy of the shit that they've been doing. It justifies. I'm sorry.
I think
in this case, yes.
It does.
Because they've been allowed to run amok and just hunt people. They're hunting people, dude. Like it's the Ice-T movie. Just it's crazy. They're hunting.
Yeah,
people.
but it's also like
allegedly.
No. On this one, it's like it's actually happening.
I'm just not trying to get you. I'm not trying to get you hit by YouTube. That's the problem. But like, I'm just going by what's being said in these emails.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane.
And by the way, we're also living in a time where they confirm the existence of directed energy weapons.
Right.
Well,
they slipped that one right by everybody.
Yeah, in Venezuela, they got wrecked. And you watch them light things on fire. Like lasers don't just appear out of the sky.
We like kind of always had not this joke. It's not. I don't think it was a joke, but you know that case where they were like the skin peelers in Venezuela.
Yeah, the Pelicantes.
Yeah,
I was going to touch on that. Alberino talked about that.
Yeah, but I was saying that
Alberino,
he's saying it's like it actually happened. But anyway, you know, for a while, it was one of those stories that you kind of like. It just sounded so like fantastical that it just didn't seem like it was possibly actual.
Basically, Predator. It was basically Predator.
What?
It was basically Predator.
Yeah.
Like the story.
But Alberino, like then all of a sudden, like they confirm that they have these like directed energy weapons, and most likely, you know, if they're admitting that, then they most likely have scalar weapons. And again, I don't think everyone should have those. But
Gene, your mic is out.
we already know that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, yeah,
There we go. It's better.
Yeah.
We already know that they have lasers that can beam sound.
And what we know because it's obsolete and going out of the inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is, you know, and
They're on
a lot of stuff a lot worse.
So yeah, it does bring up this very interesting point. I wonder what AI is saying right now about the odds of disclosure. Like what it's hard to put into words here. I'm kind of failing to do so. But I wonder what, like, we see the growth in AI, we see the growth in robotics, we see all these like different areas converging.
We're going to be batteries. We will be batteries.
And what comes next if also during all that, right, when we're running, like, did you guys see the did you guys see the trailer for this documentary? The AI doc?
No, I haven't seen it.
We gotta watch it in a second. We gotta watch it.
I get a question for Vito though.
It's crazy.
So Vito,
sir,
in going back to your earlier point of wanting to live forever, then you are content with living to be a battery.
I mean, at that point, no, I don't want to be a damn battery. But that's probably what'll happen. AI will figure out a way to make me live forever.
So you're right. So your desire to live forever is
I'll be an Energizer battery.
It is conditional
because you just wanted to see what happens.
Yeah, I want to live forever.
What happens is you're stuck in a
soulless battery world.
A plug up your ass.
That's when I go full Matrix.
Okay with that?
No, I'm not okay with that whatsoever.
To wrap up the show, we'll watch this documentary trailer. This is one of those and maybe we'll blurb about it just for like five minutes and do the outro. Because I do want to say a couple things at the end here. But so AI, the guys that are, and I brought this up in a comment earlier about Silicon Valley and the people, like, there's a lot of people like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, like a lot of these guys that follow Nick Fuentes, a lot of people like religion and like that element of things were definitely on the decline, but it seems like we're on a swing back to people becoming like really religious. And you see these guys like, you know, Rogan now going to church. Like it's a big part of the general dynamic.
It's
people in Silicon Valley. But these are the same guys that are talking about AI and how they can't ensure that this thing doesn't go off the rails. That we aren't headed down into destruction. It's honestly haunting. It's haunting to hear.
They're like catapulting us down that hill is what I'm saying.
They're running when they shouldn't even be. Like we should be maybe crawling. Like
dialing it back a lot. Yeah, dialing it back a whole lot.
Taking it one literal step at a time.
Have you heard of Moltbook? Have you heard of Molt's book?
What is that?
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to get it. Look into it. Look into what Moltbook is. It's basically a social media for that AI created on their own. Yeah, let that sink in. Yep. I don't know if it's legit, but I've been reading about it on Twitter. It's bad shit.
Is it talking about all the stupid shit we ask it?
Yes, it is, and other things. Yeah. No, dude, it's legit.
Like shit talking us?
I believe so in some
way.
Oh my
god, that's embarrassing.
But AI created their own. Yeah, Moltbook AI.
Let's watch
the front page of the ancient internet. Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry.
Let's watch to round out and then we'll do our outro. Let's watch this insane fucking trailer. This is one of those documentaries that's going to theaters, by the way. Like it's that kind of thing. Let me shut.
As opposed to age of disclosure.
It's in the chat. It's in the age of my ass. It's in the chat.
Stop. You guys are gonna get me canceled.
If this technology goes wrong,
can you hear it?
Quite wrong.
Yep.
Can you hear it, Gene?
No, have you put it on the thing here, or do I need to be in the space?
Hold on, we're gonna start it over.
If this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
Your fear of AI is the collapse of humanity.
Well, not the collapse, the abrupt extermination. There's a difference.
By the way, this trailer is fucking fantastic.
So I started making this movie because my wife is 6 months pregnant. Is now a terrible time to have a kid.
I mean, let's just be honest. I know people who work on AI risk who don't expect their children to make it to high school.
What?
What do you say to that?
How does
what?
Understand pretty much everything.
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Intelligence is about recognizing patterns.
Patterns.
If you have learned those patterns, you can generate new information. AI is moving so fast.
It's being deployed prematurely. There's so much potential for things to go wrong.
Why can't we just stop? All these
Why can't we
are in a
just
race to get AI that's vastly more intelligent than people within this decade. China, North Korea, Russia.
Whoever wins is essentially the controller of humankind.
We need to take a threat from AI as seriously as global nuclear war.
It feels like I have to find these CEOs and get them in the movie.
Great.
I want to ask you to promise me that this is going to go well.
That is impossible.
Bro.
Okay.
Wait, what the fuck?
Am I confident that it'll go right? Absolutely not.
AI is the thing that can solve climate change.
We could cure most diseases.
What if it's expanding what is humanly possible?
This is the most extraordinary time ever.
It's the only trailer that has brought you to one.
I already love you.
Okay.
One angle and the other.
I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
By using AI, we're about to move off of the Earth into the cosmos.
If we can be the most mature version of ourselves, there might be a way through this.
It's showing you like both extremes.
Did you know? I mean, there's
fucking great, right?
There's just two words. There's two words that summarize it all.
We're fucked.
People have so little appreciation for it. No unintended consequence.
100%.
They won't stop.
I know.
They won't stop.
But it's always the unintended consequence of, and we can just look in it for. I mean,
it's already in the.
How much of the internet
I went to the T-Mobile
when you were a young child?
93, bro. I was born.
So
no internet.
Well, but I'm saying, but by the time you
not for us,
5 years old.
But by the no. Well, not accessible internet. America Online was only a thing when I became like 12, no 11, 10 to 12.
Isn't AOL in the 90s? I'm pretty sure I was on AOL.
Yeah, very limited versions of it. It wasn't household
in like 1995.
Yeah, but
and I was in Germany and I had internet access.
Most people in my most people in my town, like the people we knew, like no one had computers in their house growing up.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until, I mean, they maybe had a personal computer, but it didn't go online. Like that really hit when I was in middle school. That's when things it went from like 5th grade. And maybe I'm misremembering a little bit, but from the tail end of middle school, elementary school and middle school, that's where I remember like creating my first MySpace. if that puts a time on it.
Yeah.
So, and like flip phones are still like the predominant thing when I was going to school. Like I remember the first phone that everyone really wanted out of like the flip phone era was this. It was this gold phone that only Verizon. It was only Verizon exclusive, and it flipped up this way and it flipped that way, and it had a keyboard on both sides. And it was like it brought T9 to it. It kind of like merged the flip phone with the sidekick.
Yeah.
And it was like revolutionary. But I had a Nokia brick, like growing up.
Yeah. So you still
Like when I went to the movies for my first time, I had a Nokia brick to communicate with my parents.
Yeah.
So I was playing, put it this way. I was playing flashlight tag up until like I grew up in a world where you came home when the street lights came on. But also
world too.
But
What the hell is flashlight tag?
But also then I was drinking in the woods with the cell phone in connection in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I lived through a bit of I feel like I was truly one of that last generational moments.
Yeah, you saw the change. Yeah, 100%.
Really, yeah. Because I'm good with technology, but I also remember a time without it.
Yeah.
Yep. Where you had to memorize 150 phone numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like if you like
Rain Man.
Remember the phone, the
Rolodex.
The telephone, not even a Rolodex, but it was like flat, and it had the little arrow that you moved up and down before you opened it.
Or the letter, right? Yeah.
The letter. Yeah, and then you'd write down all your friends and family. So it was like this square. I'm explaining. Yeah, I guess you could say. So it was like this square, right? And it was metal. And when you opened it up, there were all these
metal.
Yeah, there were all these pages inside, and essentially it was just enough room to write, a name and a phone number, and then it was, alphabetized. When you had it closed, there was an arrow that you could move down along the alphabet,
and it would take you to the letter.
Right. If I wanted Ty's number, I'd go down to T, push the thing to open it.
That seems so elaborate for no reason.
Yeah, hey, we didn't have iPhones back then, bro. That's what we had.
That was high tech.
That seems like technology
that moved a million units probably.
Seems like just opening a page to T might just be the easiest thing.
Yeah. No, this was a whole.
Oh no,
you gotta do the Da Vinci Code to get Ty's number. What the fuck?
Welcome back, Mikey. Welcome back.
Man, thanks. With that said, though, we've lost some because, like, now you got GPS, and if I go to most people and I say, "Do you know which way is north, east, west, or south?" They can't do it. Can't pull it off.
No,
nope.
My buddy Mario, who's my daughter's godfather, so we were stationed in Germany together.
All right, I'm gonna end the show on X.
94 to 97, and we used to, on weekends would drive all over Germany and go visit castles and everything like that. And not long ago, we were sitting together in the car going from Malden to Revere and had the GPS on. And we're like, and we've grown up here. We grew up here our whole lives. And I'm like, remember when we lived in Germany and we have like a map?
Yeah, maps. My dad was a mover.
And we would find castles in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
And now we can't go to a.
I'm literally like, how did you guys get around,
bro? We used to use printouts, dude, and they were so fucked up.
GPS printouts, right?
Yeah, it was so bad.
That was the pinnacle when you could print out MapQuest directions.
But I used paper maps when I drove.
Yeah, my dad owned a moving company, so I remember the book maps.
Yeah. The paper maps,
gas station, the book
Google
maps.
Yep.
It would be sorted by areas.
Yep.
Every area had their own map.
Carried a library.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm so grateful. So grateful for GPS.
It was a bunch of maps.
But again, if you leave home without your phone, you go into an instant panic versus it used to be that's how you dealt with things, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I always wonder, because I started driving when like phones were a thing, not like where they are now, but definitely like I do remember when GPSs were like being stolen from people's cars.
TomToms.
Yeah.
TomToms.
Yeah. I still got one.
Like that was the pinnacle of the technology was the TomTom fucking navigation unit. Like And those are you could steal the radio, the GPS, and the catalytic converter.
Right.
And like,
so my sister, talking about cell phones, my sister had one that was like the size of a car battery, and it was a proper like phone, and it had like a strap that it just plugged into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah,
like
the
that was
car
her cell
phone. Yeah. It's crazy. Imagine how much radiation that thing's fucking putting into your head.
Oh,
How many much
Jesus.
like but yeah, it makes me laugh. Like, but the exponential growth of technology, it kind of like looking at that AI doc thing, like that kind of fucking scares me.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Mhm.
you guys, but that's
Well, and Android said in my chat, unfortunately, we cannot stop AI development because China and Russia will not stop.
and that's what I mean. It's like we've already cracked the genie's the genie lamp open. There's no putting it back, because if we stop, they're not stopping.
Whistler
Right?
Mike, where are you at on all that?
What do you think about like cloning though?
I think it's going to be terrifying, but people don't have the terrifying part figured out. It's not going to be that your AI is going to turn on you. It's that even right now, and there's been a couple articles about it in the last week, everyone is using AI not for the betterment of finding cures for diseases, but the hack into the other country's electrical grid.
Yeah.
Because think about it, you got a 24/7 hacker that can figure out what's in and what's out, and you can essentially put them anywhere in the country where you can't find them and just work through it with knowing what the programming is. I mean, that's really going to be what's terrifying, is if your lights go out, it's not that your computer alive.
Didn't they just hack something big the other day? Like didn't they just hack like YouTube or something like that? Like they hacked something pretty big the other day.
Well, so it's a new world with that sort of thing going on.
Well, we need to get smart quick about hardening, like putting, like there's. I'm surprised.
It'll be AI too, probably, Ty.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know why this isn't a thing already, but people should be lobbying to harden our grid, harden it against attack. Like, and I don't know if that happens. I don't know if that happens like area by area or state by state, or
that's been something. So again, in the oil and gas days, right? They're called the SCADA systems, which are the integrated control systems that most sort of major critical infrastructure, when you talk about oil, gas, and utilities, use. And they're again into the early 2000s, the post 9/11 world, let's say. That has been a huge issue. It's almost like the banking system. Like, you would be horrified at how antiquated the banking system technology is. And it's one of those things similar to energy infrastructure that is almost too incredibly massive to replace and modernize without significant disruptions. And so that I don't know if you remember when the hell was it? Might have been mid to late 2010-ish, maybe 11 or 12. There was like a major blackout along the east coast of the US.
Oh,
You
yeah.
remember that? That was like again critical junction point where they found, I don't think it was necessarily an attack on the system, but a vulnerability in the system that allowed that to happen.
Well, even
and energy, oil, gas runs on a hairline. I mean,
that's not good.
It's always been, that's the way the system was built, and it
Is that just because it's civilian? Like, if it was military, it would be hardened, and it would be.
It's because
you would think
it's because of, again, the nature of it as a commodity. You can't have anything sitting in storage is bad, right? You've got to keep the system moving, and you don't want to keep things in storage because of those disruptions. So you need the ability to have storage when a disruption's coming, but a disruption comes and you don't.
Yeah, but what about, I mean, we're also seeing much more activity in, say, the sun, right? And say we get another Carrington event like that I don't know if you guys know what the Carrington event is, but it was like late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, and there was a coronal mass ejection, a solar flare, whatever, and it literally, like, luckily we were very limited electronically at the time, right? So it was like cable wires and that kind of stuff, but it fried it from the core, from the inside out. If that were to, they say if that were to happen today, that the cell phone in your hand would essentially turn into a bomb. That it would, it would like instantly like burst the lithium battery and like, imagine, like, we need to understand that. And that's what's scary. Is like at any time something like that could happen. And like in reality, we get sent back to the Stone Age like that. Like that. One thing, one moment, one false move.
Why are y'all worried about aliens then?
I think but that's why I also say that I want more technology, because I want us to be able to instead of, you know, instead of the events of Armageddon play out like the movie with Mel Gibson, we just shoot the fucking thing from, you know, a space-based weapon and disintegrate it.
You want the Mr. Burns
umbrella
thing.
Hell yeah. But I also want, do you think there's a possibility that like we have to let AI run it because humans are too like emotional?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole
Like,
polygraph.
we kind of can't be trusted with that.
Well, you know, like we don't want the polygraph because it's not 100%. You look at like what is the percentage of honest people that get off in court? It's probably under 50%, right? So like the same way with AI. I mean, it may not be perfect, but eventually I think it's going to be better than we got. I think you'll run into every single place that's going to have someone that's taking money or doing this or doing that or forgets this. I mean, look at people that can't leave their car without their phone. You know what I mean? Like but in those generations, AI is going to be it.
Yeah, definitely. Vito, what do you think? You got kids?
I think the same thing.
Well,
I'll tell you what scared the shit out of me was that statement that he made in the first 20 seconds of the video, where he said most of these people's high school kids won't be alive or some shit. Like,
yeah, that is
what the fuck?
That is, if that is not a. By the way, that trailer is so brilliantly edited.
It's scary, is what it is.
So, but it also, it's like the stark contrast between like the good it can do and the uncertainty. It's like it's like the theme that it's, as a filmmaker or myself, like looking at it, I can clearly see the themes of like what he's posing is that there's this bad and there's the good. And honestly, it's about humans overcoming their inherent nature, and overcoming that for the good. Yes.
I mean, core of it, right?
Right. It's ultimately it's up to us. It's how we use it.
I mean, I was in a space yesterday, and they had a guy in there who's like, he's just like, I'm a troll, and it's so much fun, and I love it, and it's so good. And people were like, but dude,
some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yep.
Right. People are here because they want to learn, they want to share, and you just find it self-entertaining to come in and be disruptive and all the rest of it. And it's the same thing with this. It's like there's people who are like, oh my God, all the good I can do in my life and the way I'm going to use it to better my life Whereas there's just other people who are like, oh, great, it's one more tool to mess with everybody else.
What really freaks me out is those people starting to talk to it.
Mhm.
I know several people
Yep.
that admit openly that they talk to it, like refer to it as like a they them kind of situation.
Yeah, like
I'm
like an entity. Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes here.
Right.
Like, what are you talking
Well, I see
about?
those things like, yeah, you generate your own AI girlfriend, and
Bro, that's only on porn.
and
What are you talking about? That's clearly where you're seeing that.
Don't-
That is
yeah.
clearly that's
How
a
dare you.
Pornhub ad if
How
I've
dare you
ever
check my
heard
search
one.
it might be because I follow a couple of strip clubs or something.
How dare you check my search history?
But yeah, it's like, oh, just create me. I'm your AI girlfriend, and maybe it just targets 50-plus-year-old guys or something. I don't know.
You leave me and Jacinda alone. She loves me.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm dead.
And I'm like, no, I already get a hot life. I don't need this garbage.
I'm dead.
Again,
I'm
though,
dead.
that's how it's thinking, because in the same way you can throw your speech or your next presentation to it and ask it to ask you general questions that would come from this business sector, and it's great, but
Right.
there's always that segment of people that can go down that route.
I mean, let's face it, fellas. We look at those robots and we shit our pants. Women look at those robots and go, "Yep, Ultra Vibe 3000. Mommy wants one of those."
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ain't that true?
Fucking crazy.
But I am gonna have to probably wrap up. What is on the horizon? By the way, with everything that's come up, I'm gonna be working on some stuff. But that DC project, I have all those interviews edited. So I think I'm going to just release them as interviews.
What about the behind-the-scenes footage? That's some of the
Which
best
was what I'll get to.
stuff.
I have a bunch of stuff to put out, but with everything that came up, it's like you're putting it out at a very open saturation market. And now it's got to be timed a little bit better. So I'm going to be working on that. And what do you guys got coming? Because I got a lot of guests I could rattle off, but I got the new show, The Briefing. The podcast will remain weekly. And you can find me on Disclosure Pod on X. Vito.
Unfortunately, I'm a difficult one. I have two different channels. I have one for gaming where I live stream weekly on my 50-inch 4-player arcade cabinet, and I do a very similar thing to the arcade cabinet. It's a 50-inch screen and it's 4 players.
Okay. Sorry.
Are you good?
No,
You're good.
that's okay.
That thing right there.
Okay.
So I live stream on that weekly. I have anybody that can come on with us. Anybody can play against us. And then I was posting all my UFO stuff to that channel, but it was really screwing with my algorithm. So I split all the UFO stuff to its own thing. I'm going to be doing like either daily or semi-daily live show with the UFO content with just current events, interviews.
Daily show?
Semi-daily, like twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. I want to do it very similar to this, where you have an open invite. Anybody can come on, anybody can join, and we talk about different topics. I have interviews coming out for this channel. This is the one I'm going to be focusing on a little bit, and then I've got the gaming stuff, so it all intermingles. You'll be seeing gaming people on the UFO world and UFO people on the gaming world. That's kind of the key. Like, how cool would it be to have somebody come over, like say, I don't know, like I had Julian Dory in my house.
That Ashton Forbes on, right?
Yeah, I had Ashton Forbes on. He played against us. So that's the other thing, is anybody can actually play with us while we're playing. So it's very interactive, my live stream. And that's on The Perfect Storm Gaming on YouTube. And then Vito UFO 76 is the paranormal / podcast channel. The thing that Gene was talking about with the ghost stories, I'm going to be doing something similar to that when my audience gets bigger, where I'm going to allow anybody to come on and tell you your experience. So I think that's kind of cool.
Well. All right. Gene, what's going on?
Hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here in the background for everything that Ty's doing, helping him out. And
cool.
Looking forward to that. I generally, jump into spaces. As Ty said, this is an unusual weekend. I've been trying to be a little disciplined about kind of getting offline by 8 p.m. and just committing that to family time and unplugging. But you know, I will I'll just be here to help Ty out.
Hey,
see if we can grow this. Again, I've always thought he did great work and has a lot of potential, and he's a great guy in general. And he's even kind of fun to hang out with a little bit.
You know what they
Dare
say.
say. So
Dare I say.
And
I'll tell you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say as I pass it off, because then I hope to be doing some things with Whistling Mike as well.
Yeah. And Vito, you're always welcome.
We've all clicked. I don't know what it is, but I think it's great, man. I think it's, I didn't know you guys from Adam. You guys have been wonderful people, the both of you, for sure. Whistling Mike as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, that's it. Show up, I show up. Oddly enough, I seem to show up when it's one of you three guys, or it's a combination, just kind of the way it worked out. But yeah, I mean, Ty's talking, and everyone gets something going, and then me and Vito, we're just kind of intermingling through the day, and then me and Gene, we got some stuff planned, just can't talk about that yet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, yeah, it's been really fun, and I don't know when the next one of the call-in show, probably do it. Man, I want to do it more probably. But at least once a month to start. If
it's
not,
a nice format.
Yeah, if not more, because it's just a lot going on. So yes, everyone who's listening or stopped in, gave super chats, you guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Get the email, Matt, by the way, I think it was. So make sure to like, share, subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast platform in the future, please leave a rating and a review. It helps very much. It's so quick. You have your phone in your hand already. It's just so easy. And it helps so much, and it's free. But you can help support further by becoming a member on Patreon or YouTube, and get early access and ad-free access to the shows. So but that's it. I don't like to go more, and I feel like I'm begging. It's terrible.
Alms for the pool. Alms for the pool.
But stay humble, stay kind, and most importantly, stay vigilant.